All right, welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody. Larry Krueger, Ryan Coccimilgio, Dan Coccimilgio, Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith will be joining us in a matter of moments. But the Giants lose to the Dodgers tonight. Giants no offense to speak of. Dan, I actually thought there was a chance that the Giants potentially could beat the Dodgers tonight.
Hey, that was a good one, Larry.
You know what? I thought the Giants had a real shot to beat the Dodgers tonight. Where's my laugh? Unbelievable. But Dan Coccimilgio is in the house, everybody. So Thank you. Danny comes to us. Ryan Smith hopefully will join us in a little short bit. He'll be here in a second. But wow, I mean, just thoroughly outclassed by the Dodgers. Dodgers had 11 hits, Giants had 5. Dodgers had 8 runs, Giants had 2. The Dodgers are pulling guys out of the minor leagues that, James Outman from Sac State, who's from Redwood City, Bay Area kid, went to my alma mater, Sac State, hitting .833. He went 2 for 2 today, scored 2 runs, drew a walk, hit 9th in the order. But just too much LA and 2 in the second, 3 more in the third, single runs in the 5th, 7th, and 9th, and that's it. LA runs away and hides.
It wasn't a total loss today, Larry. It was not a total loss at all today.
How do you
big move?
Are you saying that it wasn't a total loss?
No, they got Ford Proctor. MF. Ford Proctor batting .213 with 635 OPS, donates $1.99. Yeah. Hey,
MF has donated $1.99. Ford Proctor is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome Ford Proctor. So
give it up to Farhan. He's gotten 2 Fords this year and a Mercedes on the ball club.
And together, they'll be a major leaguer. Ford Proctor, .213 hitter, 635 OPS, but they did have to DFA Curvine Castro, who was throwing high 90s with a killer curveball last year for the Giants. And from what I'd read, Danny, this was not Curvine Castro's finest year in AAA. Supposedly the velocity's been down. He's not striking anybody out. So I don't know if he's got arm problems or what the deal is.
They kind of moved him up last year he bypassed AAA. I think he had just a short stint in AA, and they kind of brought him up. I know they protected him last year on the Rule 5, and so they brought him up. And anyway, what are the odds, though, that you trade from another organizations and you get 2 Fords on your team? You got a Mike Ford and you got a Ford Proctor, and then you get a Mercedes. What's it? What don't they have another?
And unfortunately, none of them run worth a damn.
It's like
Braves made some moves today. They got Robbie Grossman. I guess they don't need Jock Peterson.
Jake Odorizzi for Will Smith.
Odorizzi, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, and I think they
got 2001. I got a bad feeling that the Giants will not sell. What? Or maybe
there's some rumors out there that they may stand pat. I just don't understand.
I'll tell you, contagious.
If the Dodgers somehow get Soto tomorrow, the Giants should just trade as much as they can.
Man, that would hurt.
They should trade as much as they can to San Diego. Rodon, Jock, Belt, help San Diego in the playoffs with the pitching and get Robert Hassel III and C.J. Abrams and start getting more and more prospects and build your, make your top 5.
Bobby Barrels. You want Bobby Barrels here? Robert Hassel III. That's what they call him.
I'd love to have Barrels, and
they're
love
not going to trade him, are they? They're only going to trade him if they get Soto, I think.
Well, if the Dodgers get him, they.
How about all the Dodger fans there in the stands tonight? That was disturbing.
Oh yeah,
my God! How many Dodger fans were there tonight?
It probably.
If you were at the game tonight, what was the breakdown Giants Dodgers as far as fans? I mean, there were a ton of Dodger fans there tonight.
Yeah, and it will be more tomorrow night and more the next 2 games after that. I'm convinced the Giants have fans have thrown in the towel. They're not showing up. And
trade deadline's tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
I think 5 Eastern, so 2 o'clock.
5 Eastern,
2 o'clock our time. My tickets sat again tonight. That's the 4th out of 5th games. People are not, and I had, believe it or not, I had my tickets down to $25.
Is it maybe people don't want to sit in your particular seat?
No, I'm looking on StubHub, and they're all of them. They're just people aren't buying Giants tickets. The season ticket holders are getting left holding the bag. So I think what we ought to do, anybody who wants in our chat, I think what we should do.
You want Danny's tickets?
I got tickets for tomorrow night, but I think what we'll do is maybe do like an NBA lotto. Like every $1 donated, you get one ticket. And we'll pull someone out. So if
MF says best thing about tonight's Giants game was the Dodgers were only minus 120. You can parlay the whole damn series.
I did win money on betting the Dodgers at least. I mean, I
you bet the Dodgers tonight?
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you.
I'm hoping the Giants win, but I'm not going to sit there and just like be miserable and say I got to get something out of the game. I mean, I think about the 7th inning, I just said I'm done. I'm going to get my shower, get ready for the show. This is ridiculous.
Thank God you showered before the show.
Yeah,
you're not fresh.
I got to be fresh and mentally fresh. So I say though that we put the tickets up for auction, and every donation that comes in, $1 for $1, you get 1 raffle ticket. So if MF puts in another $400 like he did last night,
somebody lives out of market.
Well, if they don't want to, like MF's got buddies in the Bay Area, he might want to offer the tickets to somebody in the Bay Area.
Yeah, let's say they live in North Carolina. They can always sell the tickets. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
This is the whole point.
TK Yang donates $5. His tonight was an all AAA, all AAA lineup. And I don't think he means grade A. I think he means
listen
minor
to this.
league. Rough Slater, Mercedes Flores, Gonzo, VR, Machado, who did make one good defensive play, but 1-0 for 3. Joey Bart down to 182.
Somebody
and then Yaz.
Somebody tweeted me tonight. That's Tony Gunk. I don't know if Tony's in the house or not tonight. There's
a lot of gunk on these windows right now. Yeah. I just cannot get the gunk off of my windows. It's all that.
He texted me the lineup of the salaries, and here's the Giants lineup: Ruff $3 million, Slater $1.85, Mercedes $703,000, Flores $3.5, Gonzalez, VR, and Machado $700,000, Bart $707. Yastrzemski 3.7 and Webb 730. The Dodgers for a total of $16,290,500 for the Giants starting lineup tonight. The Dodgers starting lineup came out to $112,650,000. Betts 22.5. Trey Turner, $21 million. Freddie Freeman's $27 million. Will Smith, $730. Lamb, $1.5. Lux, $720. $13 million for Muncy. $17 million for Bellinger. And Outman, $700,000. And Heaney.
49er says, what section are Danny's seats in?
You want to know where the seats are? They're great seats. They're in section.
I actually have sat in them. They're phenomenal.
They're in section 223. They're on the aisle, seats 15 and 16. And the aisle, when people walk down the aisle, they're to your left when you're looking at home plate. So they're not walking in front of you where you can't see the pitch. And you're in the second to the last row on the club level, even with the third base bag. Right behind you is Tony's Pizza. And
DJ Venus says Farhan's a Trojan horse sent by the Dodgers fans to destroy the Giants from within. Should we address that on its merit? Frisco Willie, is it as simple as Dean and Bear, Giants owners, just don't care? Bear has to step in and do something. That's Frisco Willie. Jim Molay, my buddy from Sac State, tomorrow is Jerry Garcia tribute night.
I think that was a $20. Yeah, it was. There it is.
Jim Molay, wow. Giants suck, but tomorrow is Jerry Garcia tribute night. Look at that.
Hey, is that 20 tickets? Does Jim? Hey, anybody who wants to,
he is a season ticket holder.
Yeah, I think he might be. But anybody who wants to kind of go for tomorrow night's tickets to the Giants game and want to participate, just having some little fun here.
Lou Marson said it was 70-30
make it be
Dodgers
known in
fans
the chat
tonight.
that if you're doing it, you want to be up for the drawing for Dodger Giants tickets.
How about just the old-fashioned way? If you want Danny's tickets, just beg. Just beg. The best beggar gets them. Whoever really, really begs. I want to hear a sad story of just you've never been to a game and this could be it for you, and but Lou says 70-30 Dodger fans. He said I had to leave early to avoid the 30,000 fans. How about this one? Randy Forcell 415 is not happy with you, Danny. He says, Dan, you sold your soul.
How so?
You know what? I'll give Danny props because selling his very good seats, his club section seats. I mean, when he hasn't been able to sell these puppies, and the Dodger series is the one time when he actually can can sell them for profit because of all the Dodgers fans coming in.
Mark Graves, kind of funny how Dodger fans don't leave the game early when they're here in San Francisco. Yeah, have you noticed that? MF donating $19.99. He says Mark Feinsand says the Giants aren't going to be sellers. Well, I don't think they're going to be sellers necessarily, because I think that they're going to try to make a baseball trade. You mean like if they picked up what did you guys think of the story of the day on the Giant front, which is that John Paul Morosi says the Giants are the sleeper team for Juan Soto. Do you believe that?
I don't know what to believe, but I could believe it. But I'll say this to Farhan. If somehow this message, Farhan, you yourself said that the Giants have the ability to go get a star player and have the resources and the talent in the farm system to go out and do it. So my question is to Farhan would be, what's holding you back if you don't get him, or if you are not making a move? I want to hear what the offer is, what the Giants are actually offering. We're seeing what the Padres.
Danny doesn't trust anybody. Now he wants verification.
Well, we're seeing what the Padres offer is. We're seeing what the Cardinals offer is. We're seeing what the Dodgers suspected offer is. What are the Giants offering? And why not go trade Rodon and get a top prospect and put him in the deal for Soto? And because Rodon's gone. He's a rental, basically. You signed him with a 2-year with a 1-year opt-out.
But who wants him now? Because the Cardinals got Quintana. Would they get Quintana?
Quintana, he's nothing.
Quintana's nothing.
But the Yankees just got Montas.
Yeah,
the Yankees are probably out. The Twins might be a player.
I'll tell you after watching tonight, I would trade Jock Peterson to the Dodgers for that kid Outman.
Yeah, but the Dodgers aren't going to do that because Jock's one-dimensional. He's power. He's not as in good a shape.
I'm not convinced they wouldn't do that. Jock was a huge factor in the playoffs last year for the Braves.
I just asked my Dodger buddy if he'd do that, and he said no way. And
Nick J says they can't deal Jock since he's on the injured list.
I think
Roma says IL1.
I thought you could. I think
you can.
I think you can. Yeah.
What about Montas?
Montas is going to the Yankees.
I know, but isn't he? Isn't he?
I'm not
injured?
sure if he's on the injured list. I don't know if he's currently on there.
Yeah. No, I mean the Giants. I just want to know why the Giants wouldn't go after Soto. Why aren't they being talked about?
They definitely are.
Unless Farhan has made some kind of quiet deal with Rizzo and saying, "Don't mention us," and as part of this package, we want to come in and kind of be a surprise last minute. Come in with the package. Maybe they have a deal together, and Farhan is told Rizzo, "We're going to trade Rodon. Who do you want? What prospect?"
Okay, wait. Can we put on our tinfoil hats for a second? Okay. Connecting some dots, Brian Whitmore style. Okay, it is interesting that Danny brings up that all the other trades are kind of out there, like what they would be. They're kind of out there. The Giants.
What do you mean out there?
Like it's like they've been reported like the Padres are willing to offer blah 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 and blah 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 and blah, like, and they're named. So what do you think about this? Remember Harrison Barnes in the 2016 finals when he just was horrible and shot like 12% and really was maybe the biggest reason why they lost that finals, to be honest, if he just was decent. Yeah. And then of course it comes out, well, yeah, I mean, they were all talking to KD and Barnes got caught wind of it and Barnes felt the pressure and then Barnes melted down. That was the worst outing of the year for Logan Webb. He's been good lately. And who knows? Even if it's not substantiated, maybe the rumors, because that's one of the things out there is like, are they willing to include Webb? And I think they probably are.
Oh, I don't think so. You don't think so? No, I don't think they're going to trade Logan Webb. First of all, why? That would just immediately kill your rotation, and you're going to. So who's going to anchor your rotation if you don't have Rodon and you don't have Webb?
Hey, I think Webb's a guy. I'd rather have Webb than like some all-star batter. Of course, he's our guy for the future. He's a local kid. He's cheap. So I'm all for keeping Webb. But if the Nationals, maybe that's the negotiation, and maybe that's why it's not out there. Maybe the Nationals are asking for Webb, and the Giants don't want to give him up, so they kind of keep changing up the package.
Well, I just think if you're the Nationals, you're just waiting to see, who's going to keep upping their deal. I think it's good. You're waiting to see who blinks.
The Dodgers can offer a better package than us. There's no way.
Well, you got to think this way. It's not what's better. Better is, these are people. These are beauty, beauty's in the eye of the beholder on this thing. I mean, all you got to do is look at the Dodgers' track record of success with their minor league system and look at the Giants by comparison. Right. And then why would you take even a good rated Giants deal? If I'm Mike Rizzo and the Giants and the Dodgers are both bidding for Juan Soto, damn right, the Giants have to pay significantly more. Why? Because their prospects have crapped out. Their prospects haven't done it. So I think you see a higher rated prospect.
Yeah, but they have 3 or 4 great prospects right now in Cartea, the catcher.
Yeah,
and
they already traded. They already traded their top guy was a catcher last year. They traded.
Yeah, but this guy's better. They got the wrong guy. The Nationals
want 2 catching prospects.
Well, they can turn around and trade Ruiz or keep Ruiz as a backup, but Cartea is the better catcher. Yeah, and
they should have taken him last year then.
Well, he wasn't ready to play.
That catcher was their number 1 prospect. Now all of a sudden he's kind of crappy. If anything, I would think that would make me.
Ruiz is doing well. Dodgers just have freaking good talent.
They get a lot of it too. Glass half full guy donates $1.99, says, I really hope the Giants make multiple trades.
Absolutely.
It's time to shake it up. Let's be honest here. It's time to shake it up. It's time for Farhan to shake it up. Why? Because there's nothing at risk this year. If you're in it nominally. As far as your prospects, the Giants don't have a prospect or a player on their roster or in their farm system that their fan base is absolutely tied to. There's nobody. There's not one guy on their 25-man roster, there's not one guy in their farm system that if they traded him, people would just be like, oh my God, I cannot believe they traded this guy. They don't have that kind of player. So at this point, it's about a reset. And what better way to reset than to put together a significant package for a guy like Soto, who, the one thing about Farhan, he's very, very cautious. I think that's at the core of his all these small deals, because when you make small deals, it's because you're very cautious. He's very, very cautious. He does not want to lose any trade. He wants to win or tie every single trade. And so to me, Soto makes perfect sense right now. Why? Because Farhan knows he's going to be judged on something, either Marco Luciano in 2 years, Hunter Bishop in 2 years, Luis Matos in 2 years, or
Kyle Harrison in a year or two.
Harrison in a year. I mean, he's going to be judged on this first round of prospects that he's drafted and developed and brought to the big leagues, if that day ever comes. And he knows it. So what's safer? Is it safer to wait a couple of years on these question marks, or is it safer to parlay 4 or 5 of them and pick up a sure thing in Soto? At least in Soto, that these 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever number of prospects it would take to get them, that you're getting a player. You don't have to sit there and go, what if I'm not getting the right? No, you're getting a 23-year-old all-star player with 3 years of control, the rest of this year and 2 more years. Yeah. Theoretically, if you couldn't sign him, you could probably trade him 2 years from now.
Exactly, within the off season,
and you're still going to get a good package. It may not be the kind of package that the Nationals are going to get from you to trade him right now, but if you trade him in a year or so, you're still going to get a great package. And also the Giants, if you look at the way the Giants are structured, they have very little money even on the books for next year. They have virtually nothing on the books for 2024. So
I think it's just Disco blank slate. $12 million,
they're a total blank slate, and they can afford to go all in on a Soto and go all in on a Soto contract extension. So, I mean, there's nothing.
Would you rather
really
have, Larry? Would you rather have Rodon? Somebody said Rodon in the chat for 3. Rodon will trade for 3 prospects, and with those 3 prospects, and out of 5 our 5 prospects, they will trade for Soto. Okay, let's say they don't get that's Lewis Marson. That's true. You could get 3 prospects, but let's say they don't get Soto and they trade Rodon. Would you rather have 3 so-so prospects or 1 like top 20 MLB prospect that's, the club's very, very top prospect that looks like,
well, first of all, it's not just about the ranking of the prospect. It's their proximity to the big leagues. I don't want anybody highly rated in A-ball. I don't want to take any chances.
Hassel, though, in A-ball? Isn't Robert Hassel the third?
I think he's up, isn't he? I thought he was double A. Double A.
Sure.
But I mean, Hassel's already done well in A-ball, I believe. I think he's double A. He's in the futures game.
I gotta say, also, I gotta push back a little bit. Just doing a little research, I think the Dodgers don't have anything to offer really of that much substance. And I'm looking at the trade last year. Their top 2 prospects last year were Keibert Ruiz and Josiah Gray. I mean, Ruiz is up. He's hitting 240. He has 3 home runs last year. I mean, like he's fine. I mean, and then last year with the Nationals, he hit 280, 2 home runs. Year before that, he was up 140. He's fine, but he's like 250. He's like a 250 hitter who's going to hit you like 6 home runs and play catcher. And then Josiah Gray's got a 4.59. He had a 5.31 last year. Both of them are 24. Both of them are at the big league level. And those were the Dodgers' top 2 prospects last year. They traded Trey Turner and Max Scherzer for those 2 guys. And then their guy Cartea, I mean, he's in high A ball hitting 269. So I'm not like, I don't think that he's some like crazy untouchable. Crazy.
It's not necessarily about what level they're at for the Nationals. It's about the fact that the Dodgers have had a pipeline and that they're rolling guys through all the time, and their guys are having success. So there's more confidence that even guys in A ball are going to make it to the majors.
But like Larry, let's say you were shopping around. Let's say you're shopping around for a car, and there was one car dealership that's outsold the rest, and they had kind of a reputation for having all these great cars. But then, so last year you decided to trade in your Land Rover, and then you decided to go buy a car there. You decided to buy 2 cars. You traded in your 2 cars and for 2 more cars. Your 2 reliable cars that you've been driving that still work and are still great. You traded them in for 2 new cars, and then both those cars broke down. And they told you these were the best cars they had. Now, they have a good reputation, but are you likely to go back to them when they're struggling on other teams?
Okay, first of all, cars, especially new cars, are kind of a commodity. So I don't know if that's a good comparison. It would be more like if you bought a couple used cars off a used car dealership, and they crapped out on you, and then you're like, well, maybe I just don't want to buy another car from Lemons R Us because I don't believe in their honesty or whatnot, as opposed to a new car, which is kind of almost a borderline commodity, right? It's the same thing whether you buy it here or there. It's hard to say. I'm just saying that organizations have good and bad reputations for player development. LA is at the top of that scale, and the Giants are close to the bottom of that scale. So if you have 2 rival trade offers, I'd rather take the B offer from the Dodgers than the A offer from the Giants, just based on the fact that the Giants prospects history tells you don't make it. And until you see otherwise, do you really want to be the one guy who invests? You're going to trade Juan Soto and just hope that you're getting the very few Giants prospects that make it, as opposed to LA's got a crop of different guys every year, and more years than not they do make it. So I think there's a lot of that going on where just people hold their prospects in higher regard.
But we have guys that are ranked really freaking high, and
but I mean, that's the thing. So was Jesse Foppert, and he was nothing. And so was Jerome Williams, and so was Kurt Ainsworth.
NBA, and you had to choose between Patrick Baldwin and Keegan Murray. Who do you want?
I'm taking Keegan Murray, but
you could say, the Warriors have a good history, and the Kings have.
MF donates $4.99. He says, I'm a big Vaughn Brown guy, but he could be good trade ammo. That's kind of interesting. Frisco Willie donates $1.99. Is the job too big for Farhan?
No.
What do you guys think of that? Is the job too big for Farhan? MF donates $4.99. We just read that one.
MF dropped a fatty.
MF down here. Wait a second. Glass half full guy said, wait, hold on a second. I'll do this. Glass half full guy donates $1.99. Is Farhan afraid to make a blockbuster move? And then MF says, take over Corbin's contract. He donates $99.99. My goodness. Right. Look at MF. MF just the flex.
Well, the answer on all those, I'll tell you, I have a question.
I absolutely would take Corbin's contract. And I read the quote that everybody else read that Rizzo says that he's not going to take less in prospects he's not going to, he's not going to take less in prospects just to offload Corbin's contract. But if you're the Giants and it really comes down to an 11th hour situation and you're trying to push your deal in front of the Padres offer, the Dodgers offer, the Cardinals offer, and your deal then would include taking Corbin's contract, I think that you may not take a lesser deal if you're Rizzo, but would you take a deal that was right there? Would that be the difference? I think it probably would be. Danny, what's the Corbin contract got left, Dan?
It goes through 24, and it's like $35 million a year for a couple more years. So I would definitely take it.
It's not that high. It's not that high. Let's take a look at that.
Sure it was.
You think it's $35 million? No, it's not $35 million.
Maybe it's 25. Maybe that's the right hand Strasburg. That might have been Strasburg's contract. It's at least 25.
Check that contract.
And here's
because I think I would be willing to take on the contract. Now the Strasburg one is brutal.
That one's brutal.
I don't know that the Strasburg one can be taken on.
That one's tough. That'll weigh you down.
I mean, that's truly like an ownership meeting. Guys, do we want to do this? Strasburg is owed He signed a 7-year, $245 million deal. He's getting paid $35 million a year through 2026.
Yeah,
now, Corbin is $23 million this year, $24 million next year, $35 million in 24.
Yeah, it was. I knew there was a 35 in 24 or 25.
In 24, so it ends in 24.
Yeah,
so
I
you've
knew
got
that last year was like 35 million.
59. You get almost $60 million in commitments the next 2 years.
Heck, I would give the Nats.
That's a lot. That is a lot for Corbin for sure.
Let's give eight contracts up, or 8 players, like you mentioned in your deal, Larry, on Twitter today. I'd give 8 guys up and take Corbin's contract, because out of those 8 guys that you're giving up, the odds are that 1 has a good career, maybe 2, but I don't think the Giants' track record and the track record of guys getting traded as prospects don't always pan out. Here, somebody asked in the chat about is this too big for Farhan? Let me read you a tweet that I put out. Now, this is my tweet.
Yeah. Look at this. This is supposed to be like a very reputable site, like in terms of accurate, like prospect rankings and everything, and giving like a being able to work out like a trade that actually makes sense. So Soto is worth 165 on this website, whatever 165 points. The Giants don't have anyone even close to that. But look, if you flip it. Strasburg is minus 149. That can't be taken on.
Sure,
Corbin can 149.
But the Nats are definitely winning prospects.
Jim Olay donates $5. He says, after the week MF has had, he said, dropping 5 bills. Good. He said, give him the tickets, Dan. Give him the tickets.
Yeah, he probably. I don't know if MF. He's down in Southern Cal, right? Isn't he somewhere in Southern California?
That's. I don't think MF. Are you local? I'm not sure if MF is local.
Let me read you guys a tweet that I put out that answers the question in my mind, or asks the question about Farhan. This is my tweet. Doesn't have anything to do coming from Larry. This is strictly me. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. I said that Larry Bear needs to hold Farhan accountable and check to see what deals he's receiving for Rodon and others, and run them by Brian Sabean, because Sabes knows talent. He's a former scout with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, but your quote is so argumentative, because it basically your tweet, because it basically says that Farhan doesn't know talent.
Well, in a way, I don't know if he does, because he hasn't made any significant trades. What's one trade that you can name that Farhan has traded somebody from the Giants' 26-man roster and obtained a major league player from another 26-man roster? I know he got Chris Bryant, but that was for minor leaguers. Name one just deal that he has.
Duggar for Calhoun? No,
they were minors. Calhoun's in the minors, not even on the 40-man roster. I can't think of one deal that Farhan. I mean, I'm reading Twitter today, and I'm seeing deal after deal after deal after deal of Giants. I mean,
MF has just bought out DeSclafani's contract.
But I mean, what trade has Farhan made to another that's obtained a major league player besides Bryant? He hasn't dealt anyone off
Wade
the
Jr. What did he trade for Wade Jr.?
Wade Jr. was in the minors with the Twins. I don't think he might have had a little. He had some.
Papirski was solid, Danny. Papirski,
yeah, he was solid. That's right. He was.
Can I get a side of mayo for my Papirski? Excuse me, waitress. I'd like it. Do you have any dipping sauces for my Papirski? Thank you. I'll be here all week. Wait a second.
Papirski.
Let's make sure that we get the
no
proper...
pickles on my Papirski sandwich.
There we go. Thank you.
No, I am serious. I don't know of a deal that Farhan has made. Every trade he gets is AAA, or not even AAA. They're AA, AAA, single A guys that hit 220, 195. I mean, he gets them sometimes. I'm going to put a bet out right now to this group. I'm going to say that the trade they got for Machado
Pomeranz for Dubon.
Machado this week. What's the over/under? How long
they traded for Machado? Roster? They just traded for Machado. Why don't you pump the brakes? They got Machado.
They got Machado. I know. I was like impressed, but wrong. I think he thought he got Machado. But how long will this Machado kid, Dixon Machado, be on the roster? him or Walton will be gone.
He made a nice play defensively, but can he hit it all?
I'm fine with it. I have nothing against him. I just don't see him. Probably.
HC writes here: Lux, Alvarez, Verdugo, Smith, Gonsolin, Ruiz, Bellinger, Bueller, Montas, Urias all came from the Dodgers minors over the last 5 or 6 years.
How about Alvarez?
Track record is worlds ahead of San Francisco.
How about Yordan Alvarez with the Astros came from the Dodgers?
Yeah. I mean,
I kind of think the Dodgers stuff is overrated. A little bit.
Look at Mole. Farhan would fucking rule at the Alamany flea market. Oh my gosh.
I feel like players that leave the Dodgers.
T. Brizzle says Talkman. What a Talkman.
Oh, that's right. We got Talkman from the Yankees
for Wandy Peralta.
That was it. That was his deal. There it is. And what a deal that was.
There we go. Wandy Peralta for Talkman.
That's it. I stand correct. That was the one deal. Thanks, Brizzle. That's the one deal he made.
Thanks, Brizzle. Thank you, Brizzle.
I mean,
T. Brizzle in the house.
How long did Talkman last? Half a season.
Danny was a great half season. Do you know that catch? He robbed Pujols at Dodger Stadium. He hit the ball down the line.
It could have turned the season around. Texas. I have nothing against Talkman for that catch.
I was all in on Talkman too, man. I was rooting hard for Talkman last year.
Too. I was really pulling for him because he had speed. He was versatile in the outfield, could play all 3 positions. He was a great glove.
Nick J says, Brizzle your jizzle.
So that was the one deal he made.
Sean Proctor says Talkman did make that catch.
Yep.
Don't forget that catch.
Oh, that's great catch.
4 years. Michael Garcia says 4 years for Peralta for Talkman.
I mean, that's it. That is the only deal.
Could you imagine if he said that on you know what? I hope to make one deal involving marginal major leaguers within the first 4 years. Could you imagine
his job interview?
No, at the presser.
At the presser.
And now we introduce the new general manager of the team. I'd like to make one nondescript deal involving 2 nondescript major leaguers within the first 4 years. I want to ease into it. Rod Dunham, $10. Wow. As a lifelong Giants fan, can't tell you how excited I am. Farhan landed us a big name at the trade deadline. Ford, nicknamed Pinto Proctor, signed me up for season tickets. God, this season sucks. Anytime the fans are going with all caps, that's never. Anytime you get the all caps thing, that's never. $49.99 for MF. Look at that.
Oh my God.
So, Wandy Peralta's got a 2.35 ERA in the Bronx. Yeah, you're right. In fact, in hindsight, the Talkman Peralta trade, the one trade involving major leaguer for major leaguer, was a goddamn bust. Peralta's exactly what they need right now.
The trigger. That's why you got to go get Soto, because no one will get on you for getting Soto. Nobody.
Seriously, you can't lose the Soto trade. You cannot.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, you can't, because you can trade him again before he becomes a free agent. You have all the money in the world to attract him. I mean, to sign him long term.
Absolutely.
Your fans are going to love it. Jim Mole says, MF rain clouds continue to build in the chat. Please bring an umbrella. Yeah, MF going to make it rain in the chat, according to Jimmy Mole. Yeah. Oh, wait,
you know what these trades are like, though?
Use all caps, got to make up for some kind of shortcoming.
You know what it's like, though, watching.
That ain't right.
You know what it's like, Larry, though, watching AJ Preller and the.
He sleeps 3 hours a night, Danny. AJ Preller.
AJ Preller. He's on the prowl. Preller's on the prowl. So you got AJ Preller, and then you got the Dodgers. What's his?
Cashman.
No, not the Dodgers.
Yeah,
GM.
Cashman.
No, that's the Yankees.
Andrew Friedman.
Andrew Friedman. And you got all these other guys, movers and shakers, and we're stuck with Farhan. It's like a kid growing up and says, "Hey, Mom, Dad, can I go to Disneyland?" Johnny's parents always take him. No, son, we can't go because
but we can go to Frontier Village.
We're watching our budget. Frontier Village. Yeah. Well,
we can't go to Disneyland, but go to Frontier Village.
Yeah.
Does anybody even remember Frontier Village?
I have no idea.
It was this crappy C- kind of amusement park.
Was that the one in Concord on Willow?
No,
not that one.
Man, where was Frontier Village? I want to say it was in the South Bay somewhere.
Hey, Mom, Dad, can I go to basketball camp? All my buddies are going to the Rick Barry's basketball camp or Steph Curry's basketball camp. Can I go? No, Johnny.
No, you can go to Damian Lee's basketball camp. It's far cheaper.
Yeah, we're going to be Damian. I know Damian. He's going to come over in the backyard and we'll just shoot some hoops. And it's like everything. All your buddies are doing all this great thing, and it's like,
I want to go to Steph's camp. Who is that sharpshooter? Who was that sharpshooter from that played internationally last year or played in the G League? You know, the guy who supposedly could shoot the lights out.
Justinian Jessup.
Yeah. No, you're going to Justinian Jessup's camp. You can't afford Steph's camp. You're going to go see Justinian Jessup. He's going to show you the correct form.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, Dad.
You'll get your Jessup and you'll like it.
The senior class this year, they're all going. They're flying to New York. Can we go? Sorry, Johnny, we just can't have it.
Let's take Amtrak.
So it's like
we'll get on the Greyhound.
It's like,
we're gonna be there a week late, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, but you're gonna get there. And
I want to stay in a hotel. We can't even afford to stay in a motel. We're gonna stay in an hotel with the motel with the M burnt out. Sean Proctor says, "Here's two bones." He says, "If Farhan has the stones, Soto or Ohtani better? Soto. Soto's safer.
23. Soto's safer.
Soto's safer. He's younger. There's no breakdown potential. Hardly. Knock on wood. If he comes here." The Dodgers hopefully gets hurt.
And Calba, Calba is always famous. One thing I love about Calba's slider, it always comes in right in the zone at $10.
He's very consistent.
Yeah, very consistent.
Kamigas is $10. Prediction: what are the chances Farhan 1 makes a significant sale, Rodon or Peterson? 2 gets a significant major league player.
You got that.
3 does something insignificant or nothing. I'd say 10%, 10%, and 80%. I would say he definitely will make a significant sale. I think Jock Peterson gets moved. I think Rodon gets moved. Just the way that Wilmer Flores kind of raised his arms in the air when he kicked that bat. And then, Kapler with his stupid seriousness about even though Rodon totally apologized and he was in the moment, Kapler still had to rake him over the coals in the post game over it. And just the Giants, just the whole Giant Nation kind of, I heard Krueg the next morning. He took him to task for it. It seems like they wouldn't have done that if they were really going to, somehow they would have overlooked it if they wanted to, but they didn't overlook it. They were trying to make something of it. So I think Rodon gets moved. Peterson, it's too bad if Peterson gets moved because I really enjoy Peterson, but I just think that if you're LA and you're going to be in October, and you saw Peterson come up big for you in the year you won the World Series. Then you saw Peterson come up big for the Braves in the year that they got by and won the World Series. I think the Dodgers may look at Jock Peterson as a gotta have it kind of a guy. And I said Outman, but I mean Outman, Trace Thompson. I mean, all these guys are guys that I would probably consider taking back for Peterson.
I think Atlanta might look at him because they lost Duvall.
That's probably within their. That's I can see LA being willing to move those guys for Jock Peterson because they think Jock Peterson's a difference maker.
Well, he is come Jocktober. I mean, once he's kind of definitely produces in the playoffs. I think Atlanta might take him back just simply because they lost Adam Duvall recently.
Look at MF. $99, $100 minus the penny. Farhan will get a career minor leaguer or a DFA'd player tomorrow.
I mean,
a career minor leaguer's coming tomorrow. Here's $99.
Guys, I did the research.
Can I go to Steph's camp? No.
Justinian Jessup's got a much better deal.
Guys, I thought I was totally going to be like, okay, well, at least, when Farhan was with the Dodgers, he did trade for blah, blah, blah. I just went and looked it up. He really didn't trade for anyone when he was with the Dodgers for those 3 years.
Was he even the general manager there?
The general manager.
He was
Friedman was the boss.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's like Scott. It's like saying that Scott's the GM. He is the GM in name, but it's Farhan's show.
But isn't Farhan
Friedman's show? No, Farhan's the head of baseball ops, right?
Yeah, he is.
Everybody's got a fancy title now.
Still in the organization as an assistant to Bear in any way capacity, or is
I don't know. If he is, he has no real day-to-day control or anything like that. From what I can tell.
Because I'm serious when I say Larry Bear needs to oversee. Why, Farhan, do we not have any deals that are happening, but all these guys from that are cast-offs from other teams' organizations? Why are we seeing all the other teams? I'm the San Francisco Giants here.
Here's my question: is why does it seem like the Giants are always like in between? Like, we're not good enough to really make a trade, but we're not really bad enough to sell anybody off. So we're just gonna sit in this status quo thing and pick up a bunch of unheard of names and just keep rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I don't understand. I want to hear somebody draw out of Farhan their goddamn direction.
Exactly. And I would be.
Do they have a direction? What is the plan? Is the plan to win next year, this year? What is the plan? I want to hear. I no longer am willing to just take your word for it. I'm no longer willing to just be like, yeah, you're smart and glib. I'll defer to you. I'm not going to get wowed by your fantasy football talk. I want to know the direction. Say the direction. Somebody speak it into existence. What is the direction? Are you trying to sell off guys and get ready for a certain year? Are you looking to build around a certain prospect that you have in your system? Are you looking for another 3 years, 4 years? Who's the core? Who should we invest in? You know what I'm saying? It's like right now, this kind of like, we're moving this guy for that guy. It's just an endless parade of nothingness. And I just like to see just something, right?
I think
just
some direction. Buddy, he agrees with you.
Is that asking too much?
I feel the same way. I would feel fine tomorrow if Farhan came out and said, we're selling off all of our veterans to go for the future, and we have brought in some top prospects, and we are going to rebuild this thing. And our plan is to become like the Houston Astros did when they lost 100 games back in 2012 and 11 and 12 and 13. They were so then all of a sudden 2014 comes along and the Astros start getting competitive. And now for the last 8-9 years, the Astros are right at the top of baseball.
So you're going to lose a couple. You're going to have some losing seasons. Just give me some direction. I want some direction. I don't like right now. They're in this. This guy's up. That guy's down. They never heard of this guy who's leaving. Never heard of this guy who's coming. Romo 2001 donates $2. He saw on Giants Twitter that Krueger Castro was DFA'd. Yeah, they DFA'd Krueger Castro. Now, from what I had heard and what I read, Krueger Castro took a major step back at AAA this year. He had no command. He was walking guys. He wasn't throwing in high 90s like he had been earlier. So I'm not sure what to make of Krueger Castro's future. I don't know what kind of future he's got. Sounds like he has gone from being a prospect to a suspect.
Yeah, and here's another donation from James Foster, $9.99, says MF is a baller.
There you go, James Foster. Thank you very much for your $9.99.
You're a baller. Okay. What about this? Because when I think Moneyball guy that turns around a franchise quickly, I skip over Billy Beane because he didn't actually ever complete it. I go right to Theo Epstein. I think about the Cubbies, and it's like that took 5 years or 6 years for him, and it's like he signed Wilson Contreras and he drafted Baez, and he was bad, but he just kept drafting. Got all these high draft picks, Stella. He drafted he drafted
Brian, or was Brian already drafted?
He drafted Brian.
Drafted Schwarber. They put that thing together, and then they won the World Series, and they sold it off. I mean, I just want to see what is the direction. Yeah. I mean, just tell me, just what is it? When I asked Farhan about it, he was like, "Well, we're going to try to make, nothing but positive moves, and we believe that if we make small enough incremental moves, eventually we'll get there." Well, here we are. It's year 4. They've made a slew of small incremental moves, and they're not there. They're not there. So Mercedes, BMW. Well, let me just do this. Larry, would you do Peterson for Outman straight up? Benji, I would. I absolutely would. I like what I saw from that kid Outman. I absolutely would trade straight up for Peterson. I would like to have Trace Thompson as well, but I would definitely move straight up for Peterson. Mercedes, BMW, Farhan, the completes of GM's cheapest ingredients. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what can you say. Glass half full guy donates $1.99. What is Farhan's plan? I don't see it. I don't see it either. And at this point, I think it's fair to ask. Don't you guys think it's fair to ask? Like, what is the plan? Is the plan to not bid on top free agents until you get the farm system churning out guys at the major league level? Is the plan to, make a big trade and invest in a foundation piece player? I don't know what the plan is. Because it's just like I haven't seen. I know they want to win each trade, but we're seeing the trades are just so small. I mean, like give you the guy tonight, Dixon. What's his name? Dixon Machado. Yeah. He's clearly got a good glove, but he clearly probably is not a major league hitter. And it's like, and so and he's 30. And he's making his major league debut. And you're looking at the Dodgers across the way, and they got blue chip player after blue chip player. And the Giants are calling up 30-year-old guys that just have like one tool that they can utilize. And they're just kind of plugging it in as they go, like putting their finger. It's like a leaking boat, and they're just like putting their thumb over the leak. And then, okay, well, now we need some more tape, and we need a little bit more here and a little bit more there. I mean, it's like, where's the investment in kind of the new boat bottom? Where's the investment in anything? And, the investment in a free agent of significance, the investment in a trade of significance, the investment in an international prospect that you sign, or it seemed like they took the super long range view on the draft this year, taking Reggie Crawford, a guy who had pitched 6 innings this year, and he's a 2-way player. I mean, that's your just gigantic wild swing. What are the odds that pans out? That's got to be a low. That's got to be a low percentage. Right, at 5%. Yeah,
who knows? Got to be low. But I just remembered another trade that Farhan actually made for a major league player, and it's when he got Kevin Pillar for Derek Law and Alan Hansen. So that was a good move, getting Pillar, but he was just here for a year. But I don't see anything. I mean, all these trades that I looked him up, and I didn't even get the ones he made, all of them. But I mean, they're just constant, and it seems to be getting worse, to be honest. This year seems to be worse than his first year when he was, when the Giants cupboard was completely empty and they had nothing, and they was just trying to grasp at straws, and he was signing guys, hey, he looks like you could play
non-major leaguers. I'm just like, if you went around the diamond, I like Tyro. I kind of like Yaz as far as guys that he's brought into the organization. Obviously, I like the signings of Peterson and Rodon.
Flores is a good signing.
Flores was a good signing. But as far as, all these, let's invent this guy, let's invent that guy. Is Lamont Wade an everyday major league?
No, he can't hit left-handed pitching at all. I mean, he's actually worse than
Tableau and Fairchild and all these guys, and it's just you look around and you're like, wow, it's a gigantic nothing burger.
I went through their roster, and I was looking at all these different transactions that he's had. I mean, and you think about this, And we saw last year the Giants come through, and we're like, oh, wow, what a great year, Darren Ruff. And he had some big at-bats, and he's done well. But Darren Ruff has been a career guy that has not done much, had to go to Korea just to be able to play somewhere. And Giants sign him in his mid-30s from Korea, and he's done okay for him. But he's not going to be long-term. Jason Vosler, another guy, he traded for him, said, oh, wow.
Are you a Vosler fan? I'm not.
No,
I mean, he's just not. I mean, nothing against any of these guys,
these
really.
Are guys that you can get anywhere in baseball. You can get any of these guys that are on AAA rosters from anybody. You know, when they get released, this is what these guys are.
I guess Junis was a decent pickup. Leon was a decent pickup.
John was pretty good. Gosman was pretty good.
You know, but I mean, all the like Joey Bart was drafted by the previous regime.
His pitchers he's done as well. That's
Voss
been his strength.
Was a minor leaguer. You know, Villar was drafted by the previous regime. I guess Luis Gonzalez is a success story. Yeah. Yaz is somewhat of a success story.
But he's not. But Yaz isn't going to be he's not an all-star.
No, but I mean, as far as I'm just looking for any successes at all. Yeah. I mean, it just, you know, yeah, there's a few of these guys on the perimeter, Flores, Luis Gonzalez, maybe Colton Welker. I mean, it's not like he's never made a advantageous move, but there's nothing there that makes you go, yeah, I want to buy a ticket. Glass half full guys donates $1.99. He says, we need to get Danny in the room with Farhan. Yeah, I think that'd be a very short conversation.
If I had to guess what it seems like his philosophy is, my guess, just from trying to figure it out, is he, like a Daryl Morey, doesn't believe in. Obviously, he doesn't believe in signing, you know, Jalen Brunson to a max, and he doesn't really care actually that much about draft picks. And he's all about just like landing one big star, two big stars, put them together, and he can fill out the rest of the roster on the fringes. I kind of feel like Farhan's just buying his time with all these, you know, 33-year-old guys who are obviously not going to be on the roster going forward, just like duct taping together a roster until we have a couple minor leaguers show up that are good or the right, like not Nick Castellano, whatever. Or like Trevor Story or Chris Bryant, but like Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani. Like he's waiting for like the real legitimate big time guys who he feels comfortable paying that much money.
Brandon Graham, Farhan is going to trade for Jack Elliott, a.k.a. Mr. Baseball. Did you guys ever see Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah.
Jack, he had a hole in his swing. And his manager found it. Then he started dating the manager's daughter. That's dirty. That doesn't get you too many ABs. I'll tell you that. Start dating the manager's daughter, and you didn't tell the chief either. Didn't tell him. And that's what they called him, the chief. Romo 2001 donates $2. Farhan spent $5.2 million on Matthew Boyd, and he's not going to throw one pitch. Is Boyd done for the year?
I don't know. He might. I hear he's rehabbing right now, and he may be eligible to come back in a month. Also, Trevor
Mr. Baseball was
Rosenthal.
banned in Japan. Really? El Scorpio says the movie was banned in Japan.
He threw out another $4.5 million.
Jack found the hole. Yes, thank you, Mark. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just I don't want to bitch and moan forever, but here we are on the eve of the trade deadline. What would you like to see? Okay, this is what I came up with, some trades that I thought would be some good trades. And what I'm looking for here is just a reason to watch the Giants, just any reason at all to make them more compelling than they've been.
Spend a lot of money against them every game, and you'll want to watch.
Yeah. If you just bet against them, you'll be fine. But ultimately, it really comes down to can they make some additions to make themselves a little bit more entertaining. Here's the deals that I came up with. Now, tell me what you think of these. All right, my first trade. I'm taking on Madison Bumgarner's ugly contract in Arizona. I want Pavin Smith and Jake McCarthy coming back. I'll give you Lamont Wade and Sean Jelly. So I want a good trade from the Diamondbacks if I take Bumgarner's $50 million. I figure, you know what, Bumgarner, maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle. They'll pay the money on Bumgarner. They can trade him next year if he gets hot. I like the idea of trading Carlos Rodon and Longoria to the Twins for Gio Urshela and an outfield prospect named Matt Wallner. Wallner's got huge lefty power. Urshela plays the hell out of third base. I loved him with the Yankees. They need a good defensive third baseman, and Gio Urshela is a very good defensive third baseman.
Speaking of third baseman, Larry, have you noticed VR's throws, like more than half his throws seem to be in the dirt to the first base? It's like, what is
that? He can't hit anymore. He's hitting 150. Yeah. And James Foster donates $4.99. He says everyone should realize that there was a year where the minor league guys didn't play at all because of COVID. I know it's frustrating, but you have to be patient. Okay, that's fine. I've got another one here. Hunter Bishop, Patrick Bailey, Tommy La Stella and cash to the A's for Sean Murphy and Ramon Laureano. Then you let Murphy and Bart be the catchers going forward. You got Laureano to play center. How about this one? Jock Peterson and Trevor Rosenthal to the Dodgers for Trace Thompson and either that kid Outman we saw tonight or their infield prospect Miguel Vargas. That's a high price for LA to pay, but man, if they want Jock Peterson, and then they get Rosenthal for their pen, they get 2 for 1 there. And then I like the idea of the lefty reliever that I'd like to see the Giants go for at the deadline is Amir Garrett, who's just a fierce, lefty who throws hard. And yeah, he's he wants to fight everybody and he's pretty, he's got a big temper, but you know what? I think he's probably acquirable. You might be able to get him for like a Seth Corey from Kansas City. I like that one.
I'm not trading Seth Curry.
I also like I like trading for Nick Senzel. I'm a Nick Senzel believer. I think he's not doing it in Cincinnati. Maybe Will Wilson and that Averson Artiga to the Reds for Nick Senzel. My point is this: at the end of the day, whether you improve your club or make it more entertaining, they got to start thinking about more than just on base percentage. They can't just every move can't be just like, well, this guy gets on base.
OBP is really good in the minor.
Yeah, this guy, you don't understand. This guy sees 11 pitches per at bat. Enough of this, and let's start factoring in entertainment quality. I'd like to see, I'd like to see who I like to see. I'd like to see a guy like Juan Soto, but in the meantime, let me see Ramon Laureano. I would love to watch Trace Thompson. I'd love to see Bumgarner back in a Giant uniform. I'd love to see a little bit more power, a little bit more speed, and maybe some players that have a little bit of name recognition. And then I'd like to see an investment in some young up and coming players like a Pavin Smith, like several of the guys I just named there. So ultimately, I'd like to see them do something. I don't want to see them do nothing. Nothing to me is going to be like, are you kidding me? You did nothing. You couldn't buy, you couldn't sell, you couldn't advance your situation in any direction. That's going to be, and that's the part that's frustrating, I guess, as a media person, is that there's going to be a line of people like 9 deep tomorrow at, 5 o'clock. If the Giants do absolutely nothing, there's going to be like 25 people there to tell you why doing nothing was the prudent thing. Oh my God. And that's the part that you want to suck up. But when you start to like spin the story, now it's like anything the Giants do is the correct move. So it's like if they trade for Soto, there'll be 20 guys saying, you know what, they had to do this kind of thing. If they don't trade for Soto, there's going to be 25 guys saying, you know what, Soto wasn't the answer. If they trade for Ohtani was the only guy they had to add him. They had to have him. They had to add him to the equation. Everybody knew it. If they don't trade for Ohtani, but it was rumored to be done, they'd be like, you know what, they can't put all their eggs in one basket. If they do nothing, it's going to be like, you know what, they got caught caught in between. You don't want to give up on this season. You don't want to get rid of Rodon. It sends the wrong message. You see what I'm saying? There are people out there that will just react to whatever the team does and come up with a reasoning of why that philosophy was the right philosophy. Those people annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, it's just frustrating because, we've been asking for Farhan to give like the State of the Union on the direction of the team. And, the second best thing we've got is the MLB trade deadline. You basically have to come out and say, we are sellers, we are buyers, we are sellers of our great players right now, but we're buyers of some young, possible reclamation people. You have to, so that's what the most frustrating thing would be if they did nothing, because that's exactly that, like, is this team. They just want to live right in the middle and not give you any indication of what they're doing and what they're planning. And okay, what do you think about this? So I was trying
Mercedes,
to
BMW, Porsche. Those people are trained chimps. No, I understand, but sometimes I just get frustrated by the, there are people, especially in sports radio. It's like, my God, there's so many people out there that are like, let me figure out what the team did, and then I will come up with some philosophy and something to explain it away, so I can align myself with the club, so I can agree continuously going forward with the people who run these teams. And it's spineless, it's lame, it's unoriginal. It's like, it's sports. Do you have an opinion? If you do, share it, and be willing to roll the dice and take a chance. I mean, my God, I agree with Farhan every day for 365 days a year. Great. Bob Myers does this. It's a great move. Or like the people that just justify every move. Like, hey, you know what? They've won before. I'm going to trust in them. Well, if that's I believe in trusting in people too, but come on. So Jacob Evans, there were people telling me that Jacob Evans was a great pick by Bob Myers because he was Bob Myers. And it's like, I remember I got into an argument with one of the announcers one time. He's like, 3 years from now, Jacob Evans is going to be a really, really good player, and you're going to be back. Well, no, that didn't happen, And so guess what? All the moves that these guys make are not all right. So just backing them blindly is kind of stupid. Pick your shots, and that you're not winning people. You're not winning favor with any of these GMs by agreeing with them. They're laughing at you. They're like, this guy's just anything I say, he's just going to agree with. So it's just, I don't know. To me, have an opinion, put your new what's out there on the line, take a chance, have a take, tell me what you think, and you'll either be right or guess what? You'll be wrong. Oh no.
And I think what we're saying on here when we talk about the Giants, and we're not anti Farhan or anti Gabe as people or anything like that. They're good people. What we're saying is we're going to give them credit when they do good. When Farhan, we've clearly said he's made some great moves, but I, for one, and I know you guys are tired of the constant trading of guys that are either DFA'd or low level, haven't produced. They're not producing in the minors, but they had one good season and the analytics look good. And I just want to see some trades where guys are, let's trade a good player for another good player. What's wrong with that? In 1987, Al Rosen, we talked about this on the show the other night. Giants traded some great players, Chris Brown, Mark Grant, Mark Davis, but they got a haul in return. They got Craig Lefferts, Kevin Mitchell, and
Dave Dravecky.
It was.
they're not always right. That's all I'm saying. And it's like, you know what? It's, I'm not saying always pick on their moves, but don't just sit there and be like, it was great. Tony the Tiger takes. Jack Semino donates $5. So Semino. He says, thanks for keeping it real, Larry. I'm not about keeping it real. I'm just telling you how I honestly feel. MF says, love Larry's takes. Sean Proctor says, we did get Will Smith for Phil Bickford. I agree, though. Will Smith for Phil Bickford was actually a pretty good move.
That was a good move.
Oh,
Sean Proctor back.
That was Evans, wasn't it? Bobby Evans deal.
I don't know about that. Sean Proctor, as Rice said, $2. Let's help the boys out. Hit the like button. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button. 49er says, easy to blame Farhan. He was hamstrung by ownership and as frustrated as we are. Maybe that's the case. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his marching orders are, but here's the thing. Since they stand shoulder to shoulder, you have to blame Farhan because if he wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with the ownership group and not say, hey, this is my move. This is my show. And he just wants to they're hiding behind him. He's hiding behind them. Nobody's going to reveal, what the budget is. Farhan says, I got enough money. The ownership says Farhan says he's got enough money. Then you know what? It's a non-issue. If you win together. If you lose together. So Farhan gets blamed. And that's just the way it is. Yeah. It's just the way it is. If he doesn't want to be blamed, then he needs to come out and say, you know what? I don't have enough money. And then we can decide if it's enough money and if the ownership deserves the blame. But since he's in that position and we know the GMs aren't going to throw the owners under the bus for the most part, you know what? They all have to, he's got to get the blame. He's at the top of the masthead. He's the one who gets the credit if they win. He's the one that has to take the blame if they lose.
What do you think about this take? So I was trying to scour the web for a reasonable take as to why the Giants shouldn't do that deal for Soto. Because he's so young, I don't understand the timeline arguments. I don't think you can make those. But this was the most reasonable one I found. Giants Farm was dog shit when Farhan took over. Now they're top 10. You don't buy a player at every position. You have to work your way up by getting good role players, think reclamation projects, and developing your prospects. Hopefully Luciano, Matos, Harrison, Bishop, Bednar. You don't spend on players until you have that in place, because if you spend prematurely a la the Rangers, you will then have the players you signed to be old and declining and on expensive deals. The time to spend is not now with this old core. Right now, we are in the first stage of getting homegrown talent and getting role-playing pieces to put around eventual superstars. What do you think about that?
Well, I would say you're in the first stage. How long do you think a general manager gets to turn a program around? Go ahead. Give me a year. Give me a number of years. You get 5 years because you didn't year 4. So does he get 5?
Well, I guess it depends on how bad his farm system. How bad was his farm system when?
Well, I'll say this: I got Bobby Evans on 95.7 The Game tomorrow. He's going to be on with us, and we'll be able to ask him some questions. But I mean, seriously, how long? I mean, that's another apologist right there. Where is that cut? Where is that? In the chat?
I found it on Reddit.
Oh, it's not in here.
No.
Yeah, I mean that's somebody who is pro Farhan, pro what he's doing, and just wants to give him just a blank canvas and blank, the free slate. But I'll ask the question: what's a reasonable number of years to turn a baseball team around? I would say 5 years is a solid amount of time. So I mean, he's got 1 year left. Now, some people would say, well, they did win 107 last year. Okay. So, but I mean, there's no doubt that was great. It was also seemingly an aberration when you look at the rest of the years.
Maybe you give him 6 because of 2020.
Maybe you give him 6. Okay. So he's got 2 years left.
You lost 2020.
But I mean, but look, what that guy is saying is that you can't really go after free agents until you your prospects start to graduate to the big leagues. Well, the Giants, all their best prospects are in A-ball. So that means that they're probably not going to graduate to the big leagues until 2025. That's probably about right if you're conservative. And so that means you wouldn't actually sign free agents until the 2026 season. I don't think he's got that kind of time. I really don't. Do you guys really think he's got an 8-year run, 9-year run, something like that, where people are just going to be like, yeah, do whatever you want?
I don't want to see this crap.
I
don't want to continue to see this crap, because I'll tell you why he doesn't have the time. Because people like me are not going to renew their season tickets to watch something where I could go to Sacramento and watch better baseball. So, why do I want to continue to fork out $12,000 for 2 tickets? And, I'm fine with spending the $12,000 if you have a decent product, because the games I don't attend, I can easily sell. This year, nobody's buying the tickets. So I'm left holding the bag if I don't attend, unless I, go out and give tickets away. So, and I don't have a problem giving tickets away to people for donate them to friends or to people that watch our show that want to go to a game. I'm going to do that now, because I'm not going to just sit there and eat them. I mean, I ate 4 of the last 5 games, 3 against the Cubs and tonight's game.
Stomach.
Kalba Kamiga donates $10. Says Farhan's too much of a value guy. He won't trade away prospects or sign free agents, guys to long-term contracts. Value people agonize over downside of long contracts. Bear's going to step in because the fans aren't showing up. That's an interesting angle.
That's what I believe. I mean, Bear's got
to donates $20. He says, shameless shout out to my boy Larry and Guru show today. Great show and on the channel. Noon tomorrow and noon on Wednesday. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah,
I did watch you guys. It was a good show.
We'll have it on the Krueg show channel. We'll also have it on the 95.7 The Games channel. Check us out on the radio.
Guru's good. I liked watching him.
Guru is good. He is good.
A lot of passion.
Do you guys feel like you would be more positive right now about the situation if they had won 79 games last year, or like 76? Like slight.
I think I would feel like
more positive if they had been worse last year.
Yeah, because then you can say, okay, well, look, they're climbing they're on the upward trajectory. Whereas right now, our expectations kind of
no, because it's all about what we're sophisticated enough fans to understand the difference between filler and structural changes. If there was a structural change to the Giants, if they had a third baseman of the future, and they had a first baseman of the future, and they had a center fielder of the future, like the Diamondbacks right now are putting together kind of a structural thing. They're building up their team. That would be one thing. But just having, guys, they're the second oldest team in baseball.
Right. I mean, last year you had several guys that were playing at all-star level. You had Belt, who had 29 homers in just 98 games. Crawford had a career year. Posey had his normal all-star year. Chris Bryant was on the team. You had good pitching. You had Gosman. You had Webb. You had the relief pitching was really solid. You actually had a team last year that, frankly, had they not had to go up against the Dodgers in that first round, would have been in the National League Championship Series.
Everything broke right. It was smoke and mirrors. It was a bunch of veterans who had one great last year.
They had a great year, but
I think they would have made the World Series.
I think they were going to replicate that this year.
But you got to realize that these guys are older, and if next year there would be, if they brought the same team back, they would be worse than this year. They wouldn't even be close to a 500 team because everybody's a year older. And so
just build. I mean, why is it that hard to figure out? Just build a team. I mean, we see it all. We see it in other sports. Build.
That's why my
T-Wolves are building the NBA. Build something.
I'm trading.
Don't just this guy in, that guy out, guy in, that guy out. Build something. Invest in something. Not just
Warriors,
part-time guys and nothing guys and up and down guys. Build in something. You invest in players, the fans will then invest in your team.
Absolutely.
It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple.
And I'm not against being a season ticket holder. I'm just not going to keep supporting a team that is not ready to even field a major league club right now. So I'll wait until see how these prospects come. Or if they get Juan Soto, I would renew to right now. If I got Juan Soto tomorrow, I'd be like, okay.
Benji says, imagine the Giants swing for Soto tomorrow. Larry will flip out. Ha ha. Flip out how? I'll be very happy if they get Juan Soto. I already said it. The Giants cannot make a bad trade for Juan Soto. They can't. They can't make a bad trade. He's a 23-year-old stud. The guy's going to be a great middle-of-the-order hitter. The day they get him, they're more exciting. I guarantee you, whatever their ratings are on the television and radio will go up if they get Juan Soto. If the Giants had traded for Juan Soto today and he wasn't even in the lineup, there would have been a significantly larger walk-up crowd for tonight's game. There would have been more people listening on the radio. There would have been more people watching on TV. And that's if Soto didn't even play tonight. That's what an addition of that magnitude would do for this team. And I can remember 92 when they got Barry Bonds. That injected incredible life into the franchise. The Giants were a horrendous team in 1992. 1993, they won 103 games, and it was like a new lease on life. It was like 1992 had never happened. And it was all because of Barry and Dusty and the money that the new ownership group put in the ballpark. And the same kind of thing can happen again here.
And 95 and 96 were down years with Barry, but people were still excited with the team because they had Barry. And then 97 came, and it's like we traded Matt Williams for Jeff Kent, and people flipped out at Brian Sabian and was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I know what I'm doing." And the Giants won the division. And then they had JT Snow, and it was like there was life, and it really fueled them.
What did they do that year, by the way? If we were going to learn from 97, because that's an interesting year, the Giants traded for signed Bonds before 93. They had a huge 93 season. Right. They did miss the playoffs. They were the best playoff team to not make the playoffs. They won 103 games. They didn't make the playoffs. 94, the strike hits in August. They had added Darryl Strawberry. They were reeling in the Dodgers. They were going right on by. The strike hit. The season was canceled. Now that bled into 95. There was 95 season wasn't a full season. Giants were bad in 95, and they were bad again in 96. I can remember watching them in September in 96 at Wrigley Field, and I'm looking around going, my God, this team sucks. They had Rick Wilkins and Kim Batiste and all these guys that just were not part of their future. What did Sabian do in the offseason between 96 and 97? They made additions of major league players. They traded minor leaguers for major leaguers. Alan Watson and Fausto Macy for JT Snow. They made the big deal bringing in Kent and Vizcaino and Julio Tavares. They brought in the late Darryl
Jackson too, wasn't he in that
Mark
deal too?
Lewis, Russ Davis. They brought in a bunch of major league caliber players, but young veterans, guys that were more in the prime of their career, and they caught lightning in the bottle. They had a good first half in 97. They made the trade with the White Sox middle of the year. They found their way into the playoffs in 97. And that helped, their final run before the opening of the ballpark, getting their momentum going. So I'd like to see.
Yeah, the next year, was it the next year they got Ellis Burks in 98, or was that 99 they got Burks?
It was 2000, wasn't it? Or was I thought Ellis Burks was maybe it was 90, maybe it was 99.
Somewhere maybe but 98 they played the Cubs in that playoff to be the wild card, right?
That was the year they added Joe Carter.
Yeah,
and but I forget. Some of those years blend together. But I will say
97, 98,
they added major league caliber players, and right now what they have is a lot of minor league caliber players, and they need to invest in some major league caliber players. But they also badly need a headliner. They need a reason that for people to say, you know what, I'm going to invest 6 months ahead of time in Giant tickets. Right now, it's like people are on the kind of the evaluation mode. Let me see what they look like, and if it fits my schedule, and maybe I'll get some tickets. There's no urgency to get tickets.
What do you say to the people?
There might be some urgency.
There's people in the chat that are, or there's a few that are pushing back a little bit on you guys. I don't quite. Just on the fact that like maybe we're putting too much into into the entertainment value of the team, like. Somebody said something about Dan, that's your choice. Maybe I don't agree with that, but I see what he's saying. Like, should we be that worried about what the fans think of the team?
Yes, the fans are the ones who pay for the tickets. I mean, yes,
but like
the fans do matter.
But like to sacrifice.
What's the counter? What's the counter? Where all your fans are jackasses who don't know shit. So what? I mean, don't tell us what to do. We know better than you. Really? You've built the most boring fucking team in the league. You just won 107 games and you can't fill your park. So, I mean, the joke's not on us. The joke's on you. So, I mean, don't listen to the fans.
That's your choice, Dan. No thanks in signing guys just to please me. Yeah, go ahead. Fine. Go ahead. You don't worry about pleasing me. I'm not the only one. People aren't showing up to the ballpark right now. People look at tonight's game. It was 3/4 Dodger fans. Giant fans are not coming out to see their arch rival because they know they're going to get their asses kicked.
Well, it's also, the Giants are, it's like they've got their equation, whatever it is, whether it's on base percentage, there's some metric. They're not just making moves randomly. There's some metric that they're looking at to evaluate players. I would say don't just look beyond your metric and look for name recognition, because it doesn't matter if you got 30,000 people and some of them are there because they're entertained. I mean, it is entertainment at the end of the day. Don't you want to entertain your fans? So getting a few players that are entertaining, that the fans can relate to, that the fans maybe have an affinity for. You could have had Trace Thompson for nothing. Is Trace Thompson a star? No, but you could have got him for cash, and he's probably as good or better than some of the guys you have in your outfield right now, and that would be a nice addition. There's other guys that would be a nice addition, just because you can't do everything based on on base percentage or a number of pitches seen per at bat. If you do, you're going to wind up with a team that the fans don't relate to. And sure enough, you've got a team that the fans don't relate to.
Did we get this one up already? I didn't see that earlier.
No, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche donates $2. Says, Dan, you're scarfing down complete cereal. It's a new item.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm up in Prescott, so I had to go to Costco because there's no grocery. I'm out in the middle of kind of nowhere, so there's no grocery store. So in town, I went to Costco and check out what I got here. This is called Morning Summit. It's lightly sweetened maple berry blend cereal. It's got almonds, cereal flakes, pumpkin seeds, dried cranberries, dried cherries. Not too bad.
Yeah. How's it doing you?
It did okay. Yeah, I put a little of my almond milk in there with it, and I always get a little late night snack I just like to have. So
49ers says the Diamondbacks are more interesting than the Giants this year. Kyle McKiernan says golf claps for Larry. Yes.
Oh, the Diamondbacks are definitely a fun team to watch because they got speed.
Larry, you give fans too much credit. Ryan, you were right. 107 completely screwed up the expectations. They should have won 80 games. No one will be bitching this year. I disagree. You don't have forever. This team won 3 World Series. It's $60 to park, for crying out loud.
Hey, we needed last year. 2017, they lost 98, 99 games. 18, they were not competitive. 19, they were competitive up to the All-Star break. 2020 was Kapler's first year. They were 29-31. So it had been since 2016 they made the playoffs. You go back and look at, we talked about 97. 97, they made the playoffs. 98, they were in a 1 game to make the playoffs. They lost to the Cubs. 99, they were in it down to the in it in September. 2000, they were they won the division in 2000. 2001, Bonds hit 73 home runs. Place was, packed. People loved it. 2002, they go to the World Series. 2003, they win 100 games and get upset by Florida. So from 97 to 2003, that's 7 seasons. They made the playoffs 4 of those 7, but they were competitive in the other 3. The Giants haven't been competitive until last year since 2016. This club should be competing for a playoff spot, especially now that you have a 7th team making the playoffs. They should be in it all the way down to the last week every year. I don't care if they don't make it. They should be in it. And this team is boring as hell. It is so bad to watch. It's how can you sit there and say this is a team? We're not the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Kansas City Royals market. This is San Francisco, one of the top 5 markets in all of Major League Baseball, the 3rd highest producing revenue team in baseball. Only the Yankees and Dodgers bring in more revenue than the Giants. So don't tell me this team shouldn't compete. That's ridiculous. Like I said, we're not in a small market. The Giants that can afford to easily spend $25 to $30 million more in payroll and get quality players in here. But no, they nickel and dime at the 5 and dime store. We got another Ford in here tonight. Just look at the last 10 deals that the Giants have made this year and tell me if you ever heard of that guy before he was traded to the Giants.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you win, I guess it's, winning trumps everything. But if you're not winning, then it's like it's your fair game to be scrutinized. And
I just don't want to be like the New York Knicks or like the New York Jets, where it's like you are this historic franchise and you're in one of the biggest markets, and it feels like how are we not able to win here? And so it's like the Knicks are like, you know what? Well, at least let's make the team interesting. Let's sign Julius Randle to a max. Let's sign Jalen Brunson to a max. Let's bring in Melo. Let's Jeremy. It just, and then, or like the Jets, like, oh, let's bring in Le'Veon Bell. At least that'll make them interesting. And then it's just like, you're never like looking, you're just always like trying to like put duct tape on the, I mean, I don't know. I mean, hell, I think they should trade the whole farm.
I mean, look at it. The only one team wins every year.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be unhappy every year you don't win? No. But it's entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah,
how entertaining is the team that you're rooting for? Are you rooting for a team that's entertaining? Do people like it? Do they go?
Lost a heartbreak game 5, and it was disappointing. But it was an exciting season, and that's all you can ask for as a fan. You can't ask for a World Series every year. Heck, in the Dodgers haven't won a full season World Series since 1988. You're talking 35, what is that, 34 years? Come on. It isn't easy to win a World Series.
If they got Soto, then their top 4 would be Mookie, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, and Juan Soto, all MVP caliber players who
that's the other reason. That's the other reason. If you're Farhan, you have to.
Yeah, they all won World Series.
That's the other reason you have to get in on this thing. If you're Farhan, because he's going to the Dodgers. If you don't, and then that's the thing. If the Giants, it's been a down year for the Giants. It's not a vintage Giants team. They're probably not going to the playoffs. But if this season is the Dodgers adding Juan Soto, I mean, that's a kick to the gut.
Year, Larry, but throw in the towel for the next 2 years. You're not going to beat them.
Well, I mean, it just that you can't have that. You have to compete. You have to get in there. The Giants have to get a little bit more aggressive as an organization. They do everything so damn safe. Stop being safe. Go out there and compete. Try things, try to attract an audience, try to connect to your fans, try to not be boring, try to be a compelling product, try to run with the Dodgers, try to spend money, do something your fans have supported you. You now are in an absolute catbird seat situation. Your ballpark's paid off. You have no mortgage. You got Mission Rock money for days. You may not be the Dodgers, but you're rich in the world of baseball. There's haves and have-nots. You're one of the haves. Act like it. Act like it.
Exactly.
You're not poor. Stop pretending you're poor. You're not
third
poor.
in Major League Baseball in revenue.
Right. Stop pretending you're poor. You're not poor. And if I've got to hear media people defending their unwillingness to spend, I mean, it's lunacy. It's like they are rich. They're enormously rich. I mean, it's to sit there and to be like, well, they really can't do this and they really can't do that. They can do any goddamn thing they want. They have more money than most of the teams in baseball. That's the truth. they're closer to the richest team in the game than they are to the poorest team in the game. I mean, they are truly a rich, wealthy team that just doesn't have the baseball side going. Get the baseball side going. Pay more for scouts. Justin Gonzalez donates $10. He says the new Scottsdale facility is beautiful. Drive by it every day. Are they clipping coupons because of the enhancements they've made to the infrastructure? They can believe you can't pinch pennies at the major league level because you've got a new building in Scottsdale. My God. You know, that's just that's like 10 times stupid if that were actually going on. So they just have to do it. And Farhan's very cautious. He doesn't want to make trades, partially because he doesn't want to lose trades. But this is the one trade that I don't think you can lose. I don't think you can lose trading for Juan Soto. I don't, because the Giants don't have good enough success with their prospects to, what are the odds that the Giants, who have not really had any real momentum prospect wise outside of one little window where they got Posey, Sandoval, Lincecum, Bumgarner, Kane, and that all together and took that core to the World Series. The other 20 years before and after that have been a wasteland of nothingness, but they suddenly can't trade for Soto because all the prospects they have currently are all going to be future stars. I mean, that's just illogical. I mean, it's just like the reality of that situation. I mean, we're all hopeful they'll all be stars, right? That's why they're prospects to begin with. But to bank that they're going to be stars and to fear trading them at this point, I think is not based on a whole lot. That's all I would say.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, I was going to say the funny thing is, like, it's fun to make fun of the Dodgers fans for not winning any World Series. And then the only World Series they won was the 2021 where they didn't even have a parade and it was half a season. But it would be kind of funny, like, if they did win the World Series with Soto, because then their top 4 guys will have all already won a World Series with their original team. And like, that's where like their heart probably is, not with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them do something to advance their situation. So if that means that they sell off a player for a prospect, I'm okay with that. If that's like they do a little combination of they partly buy, they partly sell, I'd be okay with that. But I think really the need right now is to kind of do a reset. And I would love to see them get Farhan really, be loose tomorrow and make a couple big deals and move some people around and roll the dice. Absolutely. And show the nerve and the guts that general managers of yesteryear always had, and that Farhan seems so cautious and so concerned and so worried. I'd like to see them throw that caution to the wind one time and take a chance, put your balls on the line and make a deal. And roll the dice and see if you win. You might win, you might lose, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Throw it out there. If I'm Farhan, if I'm in Farhan's position, if I'm Farhan after 4 seasons, I'm talking to Mike Rizzo and say, Mike, I'm getting a lot of heat right now. My fans, my ownership, I gotta land Juan Soto. Give me the last crack before you make a deal and tell me what you want, and I'll top what you've got if I can. Just do me that favor. And I think a GM would probably do that. If you ask Ned, I bet you they talk like that, because let's keep it real. I mean, Farhan has no signature move since he has been the GM. I mean, if you want to give credit to getting Chris Bryant, it really went to Scott Harris because he had the relationship with the Cubs. That's how they were able to get Chris Bryant last year at the very last minute. It was Scott Harris that pulled that deal off. So I want to know what Farhan's going to do. And, if he can't get Soto, go ahead and trade Rodon.
Please trade Rodon.
Trade Wilmer Flores, because Wilmer Flores is having a really good year and he's valuable to a contending team. Trade Jock Peterson. Trade Darren Ruff. He'll give you something. Trade, I'm trying to think of anybody. Brandon Belt. Go ahead and ask Belt if he wants to go to a contender. Put him on a contender. He deserves that for what he's given the Giants, and move forward and start with the process of putting together a team for next year and then build around that and start getting free agents. But do something. Don't do nothing, because nothing is giving you the most boring team I have seen in a long time. And Robert Rothberg, you're in the chat talking very positive about the Giants, and I see some of your comments going towards
in Farhan we trust. I mean, that's just it's like I think he's glib, I think he's smart, but I don't just sit there and agree with every move he makes.
And Robert, I want to ask you a question, and I'm not being critical. I just want to know, do you enjoy watching this team they're putting out there every day right now? Is it a club that you enjoy watching 9 innings of? Because I'm a huge fan and have been for over 50 years, and I've watched some of the worst Giants teams, and just because I love baseball. But this team, as I get old, it's hard to watch. I mean, I can actually step away and go away for 30 minutes and come back. And I if I missed anything, they haven't scored a run probably in that 30 minutes or done anything spectacular.
Rod Dunham donates $10. He says, okay, the huge elephant in the room. Does anyone here, chat included, believe that Farhan and the Giants organization will go all in and land Soto tomorrow? Yes or no? I'll say this. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. But as far as do I bank on it? No. Robert Rothberg says, trade all these guys and you want fans to purchase tickets? Okay, so who is the guy who's the guy that's on the roster right now that if you traded him, you would be like, I ain't buying tickets to that? Who is that guy?
And who are you buying tickets to go see right now?
That's what I'm saying. Who's the guy? But who's the guy that if they traded, you wouldn't want to buy a ticket? We're talking about trade. I guess Robert Rothberg is only a part-time Giant fan in that if they trade Rodon, who they didn't even have at the beginning of the year. So now if they trade a player they didn't even have at the beginning of the year, that you don't want to buy tickets because they don't have Rodon. If they trade Jock Peterson, who they didn't have at the beginning of the year, now you don't want to buy tickets to go to a Giants game because they don't have Jock Peterson. I mean, this is not Will Clark 1990. This isn't Barry Bonds in 1994. This isn't Willie McCovey in 1977. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, who is the guy that if they traded, you'd be like, oh, God, I can't buy tickets anymore?
Webb, I would be so pissed off. But also, it's not like he plays every day, so...
I mean, I would hate to see Webb go, but if that was the deal, if they had 3 or 4 guys, the prospects, and Webb was like the deal breaker, I'm trading Webb because I can go out and find some good pitching. And you never know about pitching. It can guys can get hurt with their arm and they're out, I mean, for a year and a half, 2 years if they get Tommy John. You can go get pitching, but they don't have a star. I mean, Brian here says, what did he say? I'm never coming to the park again if they traded VR. I think he's being
I think he's being facetious. Justin Kerwin says the fans are going to games when tickets are half since they're $27. I see it all over the park. No one is wearing any of these DFA jerseys. Oh yeah, I mean that's the other thing. I mean, it's just about anything else. It's like, people want to support people they know. That's all. And the casual fan, we're hardcore fans. The casual fan, they don't even know who any of the DFA guys are. The Giants under Farhan had to put the names back on the jerseys because nobody knows the players.
Yeah, the Giants didn't have their names on their.
That's not even a joke.
It's true. No, it's not. It's true.
No.
Sean Proctor, $2. Can you go get pitching? The LA Angels, hold my beer. Yeah. I mean,
the Giants, one thing the Giants are doing right now is they are drafting a lot of pitching from college, and those guys are going to produce. Some of those guys are going to come up and produce.
4 years from now?
I think a couple years. I think Will Bednar and Kyle Harrison will be here in 2 years. Or less.
Kyle Harrison's going to be here in 2 months.
Yeah, Harrison's going to be here, if not this year, the start of next year. I think Harrison is definitely.
Well, he'll be up in September.
He should
especially
be.
if they're bad.
Yeah, and then you've also got one thing Farhan does do is he goes out and gets guys pitching, and the Giants have been able to rejuvenate some of these guys' careers, like Jacob Junis, because what they do is they say, well, this pitch you do really well with, this one that you're throwing 40% of the time, throw it away because it's not working for you.
I mean, all the more reason to go after a guy like Soto is you can find Junis.
Yes. You can find those, especially
you can find the Junises of the world, and you can get the Rodons of the world to sign with you as free agents. Then really what you need to do is go get impact guys, difference makers in your lineup, and then go in the offseason, sign a couple more pitching free agents, and bingo, bango, you're ready to roll. But you just got to think about things logically. The Giants just had the amateur draft. Almost every person they drafted was a pitcher. I mean, almost like the vast majority were pitchers. A lot of them college pitchers. So you're drafting college pitchers, and you can sign pitching, but you're not really signing hitters, and you're not really drafting hitters. So I got to ask the question: if you're not drafting hitters and you're not signing hitters, where are the hitters coming from? Where are you going to get the hitters? If you're not, they don't just pop up. They don't just show up out of nowhere. You're not drafting them. We know that. You're not signing them as free agents because you have to overpay to get them to come here. So you're not getting them in free agency. That's one way to improve. You're not getting them in the amateur draft. So by definition, you have to use your pitching surplus, trade off of that, and get those hitters that you need via trade. So to me, not Juan Soto is not just a good idea. He's part of the plan. I think that is the plan. The plan is to draft pitching, sign pitching, and take your excess pitching and trade it strategically for a hitter here and a hitter there to round out your team. So to me, trading for Juan Soto, that is part of the master plan, and it really should be the master plan going forward. Is there you agree with me on this one, or
absolutely?
I don't see where the hitters are coming from.
I wouldn't trade Webb plus all our prospects for him.
Because then
forget the names, because we can always debate the names later.
Yeah.
It's just about as far as your philosophy of building. It has to be you're drafting pitchers, you're signing pitchers, and you're trading your pitching surplus for good young hitters. That's got to be the plan. That's the only plan that is sustainable. That's the plan that makes sense.
And I think that's why
you don't have to trade for Juan Soto. You got to trade for hitters. So it doesn't matter if it's Juan Soto. It could be what I was saying: trade for Pavin Smith and there's all kinds of young players around the game. Jake McCarthy, but you're going to have to trade for hitters. You're not going to get them in any other way.
See, you can win with a star like Soto, surrounded by solid players who aren't all-stars but play excellent defense, have speed, a lot of athleticism, and excellent pitching. That's how you win. The Giants don't have much athleticism. They're terrible on defense, and their bullpen has stunk. But their starting pitching has kept them in the majority of games.
But I know that's why I wouldn't trade Webb plus our prospects.
Well, yeah, but I do.
I mean, at the end of the day, what's Webb? Webb is a very solid,
only good player that's under 26 years old.
Okay, but what is he though? He's a very solid. What is he?
He's an all-star level pitcher who showed up big time in the playoffs. He's an ace.
You think he's an ace?
I think he's an ace.
I think he's a.
I would think he's a number two. He's a really good number two starter.
Yeah,
that's what he is. He's not an ace. He's a number two. But even if he was an ace, I would prefer not to trade him as well. I mean, I think we're all in agreement. We'd like to keep Webb. But is Webb as valuable to the Giants as Juan Soto? No.
How about
but not a 1-for-1 trade. Like if we gave up Webb plus our farm system, then I get what you're saying. But then Rodon leaves. Okay, so we have Soto, and then we have a bunch of old dudes and no prospects and no pitching.
Well, I mean, you trade one pitcher and now you have no pitching.
Well, I'm assuming Rodon's gone after the. I'm saying but if you trade Harrison,
you didn't even have Rodon at the beginning of the year. You just signed him, so you go sign him. Go sign him. Go sign another pitcher.
Okay, go sign another pitcher. But like, what about? Okay, so Harrison, no more. Luciano, all those guys, they're all gone. I mean, if we don't have Webb, okay, we have Soto. I mean, look at the Angels. Like they have Mike Trout, and they've had Mike Trout forever, and they don't ever win.
Yeah, because
but
they don't have
this is another one of these fallacies, these fake arguments. Like they don't win having Trout, so you don't want Trout. No, that's not it. They don't win because they have no pitching. Two things can be mutually, two things can be equally true. Just because you have Trout doesn't mean you can't have pitching. There's no law that says, oh, you have Mike Trout, you can't have pitching. They have Trout and they don't have pitching. They don't have Trout, and because of that, they don't have pitching. They just don't have pitching. So it's not about pitching. Let's not fascinate on Trout. Let's fascinate on the fact that they just don't have any pitching.
So why don't they need pitching?
Just because they haven't been able to cultivate any arms in their system. They don't pick the right guys. Same reason the Giants have no hitting. They can't draft any.
But like Webb is their only guy, and then if we trade Harrison also, then
but Webb is not their only guy. The Giants have had other guys in the past. I mean, they've had plenty of young pitching. They had Kane, they had Lincecum, they had Bumgarner. They've had many. They've had some of the best young pitchers in the National League in the last 20 years. They get pitching. They get pitching often. What they don't get is Juan Soto. They don't get Juan Soto. They haven't had Juan Soto. So I agree. I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't be in a rush to trade Webb. But if it really came down to it, a starting pitcher that is a really good number two is not as valuable as an everyday outfielder. Why? Because an everyday outfielder puts people in the seats. People come to see that guy. He plays all 162. Webb's going to make 30 starts this year, if that, maybe 28. They play 162 games. He's going to pitch 28 of them. So who's got more value to your organization? Juan Soto, who's going to play maybe 150, or Logan Webb in his 28 starts?
Soto for sure.
Let me ask you this, Larry. Here's a kind of a hypothetical. Let's say Soto goes to the Padres or the Dodgers tomorrow, and the Giants, end up empty-handed there, and you can trade Rodon and Peterson maybe and get a top prospect. Let's say the Padres say, gosh, we need pitching and we need an ace to beat the Dodgers in the playoffs. So we'll take Rodon, Jock, and a couple other guys, and we'll give you Hassel and CJ Abrams for him. And then you take Webb and the Cardinals, you offer Webb to the Cardinals for Jordan Walker and Dylan Carlson and maybe Matthew Liberatore, a top pitcher prospect who's out with a sore arm right now. But you get
what's the question, Dan?
Would you trade Webb for that? Go ahead and get Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson, and
I don't think you could get that.
Webb's
I don't think you can get that. Jordan Walker's an elite prospect. Dylan Carlson's a terrific young outfielder and a third player, Liberatore. I don't think you could get all that.
You can get two of those three. I think you can get two of those three because
I don't know.
Webb
I mean,
is a guy that
I don't want to take it. Here's the thing: you don't want to take any more chances if you're going to trade the for sure. I mean, your prospects are prospects; they bomb. So,
but Dylan Carlson's on the Cardinals, and
But I mean, you have to hold the young. There's a reason that Juan Soto costs so much, and the reason is that there's no risk. He's proven. So proven players are not like prospects. Proven players you have to get a return for him. You can't just take a chance.
I mean, is that a chance?
But I mean, Dan, I could say that about the kid, Waters, who played for the Braves, who just got dealt to the Royals this year. He was their top prospect a year ago. He was a can't miss guy. Now he got handed to the Royals in the middle of the year for a sandwich pick. So I mean, it's just like there's a big difference between highly rated prospect and an established young veteran in the big leagues.
Okay,
so
how about
I think I want something more. If I'm going to trade Webb, I want Juan Soto because I don't want to trade a known number 2 starter for maybe. I don't even if it's a very good maybe. It's still maybe.
But what I'm saying, let's say Soto's off the books and you can't get him because he gets traded to somewhere else. Would you take this team and
I wouldn't trade Webb for prospects? No, I would not.
I'm not saying prospects. I'm saying, well, I did say Jordan Walker, but how about Dylan Carlson and Harrison Bader or Tyler O'Neill to the car? Those are guys that are proven major league players.
I don't know that you're better. I don't know that you're better in that situation. I think you take a step forward here and a step back there, and I don't know that you're better. Yeah. I would rather see them move, guys who like Rodon, and Jock. They don't have all. That's the thing. They don't have all. This is why the Juan Soto thing is believable from my perspective. Is that the Giants don't have a lot to do anything with. They don't have a lot to sell.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you going to get for a Rodon? Probably not tons. And what are you going to get for Jock Peterson? Well, you're not going to get as much as you would have gotten a month ago.
You're not going to get much for Jock, but I think Rodon could bring you. He's a difference maker of a team winning or not winning, possibly taking it all. You put Rodon on the Astros. You put Rodon on the Padres.
I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying I don't think you're going to get what you think you're going to get.
You could maybe get a top 15 prospect and some maybe
team top 15 or MLB top 15.
MLB top 15.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can get an MLB top prospect based on what Castillo went for. I do agree with Ronald BBX here. I do think the Dodgers probably won't sleep much tonight.
Let me put this. MF donates. Got love for everyone in the chat, but I don't agree with Robert Rothberg's stance. Robert's just eternally positive, and he, there are people that are just like, hey, you know what? I like Farhan. I think Farhan's smart. I'm not gonna handicap it beyond that. I don't know. So I'm just going to roll with Farhan because I think he knows. And I get it. He says Robert says pitching is more valuable than offense. No, it's not. Pitching is not more valuable than offense. People come to support the offense. Your team is not your pitching. Your team is the team that you put on the field. That's your team. That's who people come to support. They'll, if you have a great starting pitcher, they may pack the house the night he pitches. But what about the other nights? Well, that's 28 starts and there's 162 games. The left fielder, I mean, I love Madison Bumgarner. Are you going to argue to me that Madison Bumgarner had greater value to the San Francisco Giants bottom line than Barry Bonds? You're wrong. He didn't.
Yeah, no chance.
No chance.
The Giants had 5 hits tonight, and one of them was a bunt by Gonzalez. Is that exciting? I mean, how boring is this team?
I mean, for the Giants, that actually is exciting. A bunt.
Robo 2001 donates $2. It's fun exercise on Soto, but he isn't coming to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Hey, Romo.
I disagree. I disagree because I don't think Farhan's got any moves. I don't think he's got a sell move. And I really don't think that there's not a buy move that you wouldn't if the Giants start trading a bunch of prospects for guys that are just going to help them this year and they weren't signed long term. People would be like, what are you doing? Why are you trading Marco Luciano for a rental. I mean, that you get roasted for that. Or even if you got a guy that was a free agent in 1 year, what are you doing trading the future for a now kind of a proposition when your now is not all that bright? So I don't think he's got to buy. I don't think they've got prospects that the other teams want, but I don't think that there's a player out there that he could buy. That because most of the players that are available this time of year are guys that are free agents at the end of the year. So you're not going to trade prospects to buy for this year. And then you're not probably going to get too much for selling. Dan thinks they're going to get a king's ransom for Rodon. I don't. I think they'll get a good player, but nothing more. So I don't see them getting a great
top prospect.
I don't see them getting
level.
I don't see them getting a difference maker if they sell, and I don't see them buying. So what do they really need? They need to, kind of hit a reset and invest in a player that is a proven commodity that they have control over, that's going to put butts in the seats and excite people to come back to the yard.
You know what scares me about the Dodgers?
I think they will extend for Soto.
You know why the Dodgers can afford Soto? Because Trey Turner is going to be a free agent at the end of this year, and they have
$595 million in revenue. That's why they can afford him.
Right, but Trey Turner's gone this year, and they're going to let him. They're going to keep him, not trade him right now because they want to win the World Series, and so they're going to go for it. And then they'll probably, what do they have at shortstop? They can maybe this Vargas kid. Is this Vargas kid a shortstop or a second baseman or whatever? With the
he plays first, he plays second, he plays third.
Okay.
John Morosi says the Giants are a dark horse for Juan Soto. They have a seat at the table. MF donates $4.99 for that.
That's all
Robert Rothberg says, Larry, what type of contract would Soto demand? A big, fat, long-term, expensive one.
And no matter what, it's worth it.
And no matter what, the Giants can afford it.
Yeah. Just pay it.
The Giants have nothing but money. The Giants have more. This is the problem with the Giants is they have more money.
$500 million.
They have more money than prospects, but they like their money, and they like to keep it. And that's the problem is that they really what do the Giants have that other teams don't have? Money. So what kinds of moves should they make? They should make the kinds of moves where they take on money and get prospects at a discounted rate because they take on money. But the commitment from the ownership to expand the budget, to use the financial resources to do that kind of a move, I get the feeling are very limited. Now, Farhan tried that kind of move by taking on Zach Cozart's $13 million commitment from the Angels and getting Will Wilson. And I guess they still like Will Wilson, though he broke his hamate bone and he's not ready to go right now. But they basically paid $13 million for Will Wilson. And I liked the move at the time because they have a lot of money. So why would you not spend some of that money to buy some prospects? If you have money, but you don't have prospects, use your money to buy some prospects.
I love that.
It hasn't worked. Will Wilson hasn't delivered. If Will Wilson were hitting third in the lineup and had 15 home runs right now, we'd be like, yeah, that's a great move. It's kind of like Joe Lacob buying second-round picks. Joe Lacob buys second-round picks.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
It works sometimes it doesn't. But he knows that he's going to use his financial advantage to get an advantage in the draft. And the Giants ought to do the same kind of thing.
And as far as pitching goes, like we were talking about Ryan with pitching, the Giants are kind of like the Warriors. When you see how guys come like Otto Porter, now DiVincenzo, and Green, these guys come to the Warriors to take their career and transition it into a bigger contract. The Giants have a history of that. They have Gausman, they have Rodon. Alex Cobb is a guy that is, guys come to San Francisco. It's a great park to pitch in. Jacob Junis, another guy. So Giants can get pitching and fix some of these guys' issues where they didn't have success, and they have success in San Francisco. So go get that hitter. And, with as far as Soto, it's if they get Soto, I'll say this. You guys ridiculed me about 3 weeks.
They're a lot more interesting. They're sleepy right now.
I said the Giants. I really felt like the Giants had a shot at Soto 3-4 weeks ago, just because they're desperate. And
don't take a victory lap. They haven't gotten him.
I know, but if I do, if I get him, I'm playing my drums on the whole. I'll be. I'm gonna. I don't know what the heck.
I mean, just think about that too for a second. I mean, if they do get, I mean, imagine the vibe if the Dodgers get Soto. Imagine the vibe if the Giants get Soto.
Well, there's a chance tomorrow at game time that one team is going to be elated and the other's going to be like, "Oh crap."
GD5 says trading for Soto would be the biggest move the Giants have made since they signed Bonds in 1992.
Absolutely would be the biggest move.
I'll tell you the move that I would make if I couldn't make the Soto move. And I don't, and once again, it's right along the same lines of using your financial might. But, let's just say you can't get Soto. I would call the Padres and take Will Myers and Eric Hosmer off those contracts off their hands, so they would give a couple of their top prospects to the Giants in return. If I would try to use my financial muscle, my financial advantage to take on contracts that the Padres want to get out from underneath, and I would take, Robert Hassel. And, I'll take Robert Hassel, but I'm also going to pay the rest of Will Myers, and I'll pay the rest of Eric Hosmer's money. And, the Padres, you can get Eric Hosmer off your books, and you can get Will Myers off your books, and we'll take those contracts in full. But in return, we're going to take Robert Hassel III, and he's going to play right field in San Francisco going forward. At least in that situation, you're taking on Hosmer, who's kind of built to play in your park and is a line drive hitter and a good defender. You're getting Will Myers, who's maybe the best hitter in your ballpark. I mean, he's been so incredible in that yard. And then for your financial commitment that you're taking off their hands, you're getting a star, corner outfielder like Hassel. That would be a smart move. That would be using your You're not getting Soto, and it's not sexy, but you're also not emptying your farm system, but you're using your financial muscle to add a significant player who's not an A-ball, who's ready to roll probably in 2023. And it's, that to me would be a really smart, creative move. And that's all I want to see from Farhan.
Would you put Rodon and Jock in that deal along
I don't
to
need
get
him
CJ
to,
Abrams?
I don't know. I don't need him to I don't need Farhan to take on Soto. I don't need him to get Soto to be happy. I need him to use his financial, advantage and use what he's got to make trades. As far as why I wouldn't take on CJ Abrams and all these other guys, because I just don't believe in those guys the same way. I think I would use a lot of discretion because a lot of prospects don't make it. So I got to be totally convinced that the prospects I'm getting, especially if I'm going to throw my owner's money around, especially if I'm going to, because
are you talking about Abrams? Did you say?
Hosmer is going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to tell the Giants ownership group, hey, we're taking on Hosmer. Hosmer's going to cost, I don't know what his contract is. It's big. So you better get a prospect that you really, really believe in. I believe in Hassel. I don't believe as much in Abrams.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with Rodon? He's going to go, so you got to get something for him. You might as well get something for him.
Yeah, I would have no problem moving Rodon to anybody for. I don't want a haul of guys. I want one or two,
but
guys
Abrams
that I know are going to
be like a really speedster, flashy shortstop who's got good range and supposed to have a good bat. He's a rookie.
Okay, so where's he playing? You have Crawford right now, and you got Luciano in the future. So where's he playing?
Well, Luciano's not going to probably play short. He's going to get moved to a corner somewhere.
But I'm just saying, you got Crawford right now.
Okay, so you move Abrams and you put him in second base or center field for a while. He can.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in Abrams. I like Abrams. I don't love Abrams. I've seen him a little bit. I don't. I like him a little bit. I don't like him a lot. So I wouldn't make that move. But I love Hassel, and I think Hassel reminds me of like Sean Green or Kyle Tucker, somebody like that. So that MF donates $49.99. He says getting rid of DeSclafani's terrible contract should be priority number one. That was a Farhan contract. He signed him.
That's
true. 3 years, $30 million.
That's what that also goes towards my thing about the pitching, though, Dan, is like these kind of like journeyman dudes that we find, they're so up or down. Like you could have one good year and then they get injured. And I don't know. It's just hard. I don't know. Also, I think that we legitimately have a shot at Soto. Like, I think that we have like a 15% chance of actually landing Soto. But what's going to be just so annoying is like after the trade deadline goes by and we don't get Soto, it's just going to be nonstop Aaron Judge talk. And it's like, we're not getting Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge since the All-Star break. Let me read these numbers. In 12 games, he's hitting .413 with 10 home runs. He is going to hit 65 home runs on the best team in baseball record-wise in freaking New York. He's going to get signed there. And if he doesn't get signed there, he's going to get signed somewhere else at a astronomical figure that there is no way Farhan is going near for a 31-year-old hitter,
Well,
look at the history of the Yankees and what they spend.
Yeah.
The Yankees payroll,
by the way.
The Yankees payroll this year is with the luxury tax, 40-man payroll is $259 million.
What is it without the luxury? What's their
opening day payroll for the Yankees this year is $245 million.
245. So then they add luxury tax over that. So the Giants is 155. So they're 90 million difference.
But the Yankees spent 197 last year. They've gone up and down too. The Yankees and the Dodgers keep doing this thing where they dip below to get the reset, and they're basically doing this little game where they go on both sides of the luxury tax threshold or whatever the competitive tax threshold.
What's the Mets payroll this year? It had to be over 200 million opening day. I got it right here. By the way, Hosmer's contract, he's got 3 more years after this year, but it's only $13 million a year. He's been
but that's $40 million.
But still,
so $40 million is a lot of money to take off somebody's hands if they can't afford it. So that's a $40 million mistake that the Padres have in their books, and you could take that off their plate. Well, if you take it off their plate, and let's say you took Myers with it, so Myers, let's say, has $5 million left on his deal this year. So you're talking about $45 million roughly for those two guys. For that $45 million, you're getting an outfielder who swings it really well in your place, and a first baseman who's really good defensively, who's kind of a gap hitter in a park with big gaps. So Hosmer doesn't hit home runs, but he would hit you 260, 270, maybe even 280. And he's going to play the hell out of first base. But you're taking on $45 million, and for that $45 million, you should be able to get a prospect or two from San Diego. Now, I don't know San Diego's mentality. I don't know how desperate they are to offload that money. And then also I don't know that the Giants owners are thinking creatively like that. Like, we'll take this bad money on. I think they're, thinking, let's just, keep our books nice and clean, and we won't take on anybody's bad money, and we'll just build up our farm system. But, here it is, year 4, and the farm system looks like it's a minimum 3 or 4 years away. And so that means that Farhan would be in close to year 8 or 9 before he would get this thing turned around, especially if you're not going to go get big time free agents until after the farm system starts to produce. So that's really the issue. It's like, if that is the timeline, don't sign free agents until the farm system starts spitting out guys, and you're not going to get those guys really rolling for another 3 or 4 years, which is a minimum, looks like where they're at right now. That's, what GM gets: the 8-year plan, the 9-year plan, the 10-year plan. I don't know of anybody who's got that kind of, that kind of runway. MF donates $19.99. He says, thoughts on the Josh Hader deal? The Giants ran him out of Milwaukee. I think Hader is already pitched his best ball.
Yeah.
I think that if you look closely at his internal numbers, you'll see that he's not as effective as he was a year ago, and he wasn't as effective as he was the year before that. He's an electric armed lefty whose best ball was up front in his career, and I think you're just going to have a slow but steady decline for him. And then in this market, based on the comments that he's made, I think it's a total non-starter. I don't, San Diego is one thing. San Francisco is a totally different deal. I don't think the fans here would let him forget, some of the comments that he's made and some of the things he's said.
Kapler would.
Right.
Kapler would.
Well with Cap. Hey, looking at the payroll here of the
He's Pasquale also.
Yeah. The Mets opening day payroll is at 264, number 2 in baseball. Number 1 is the Dodgers. Opening day was 280, but I think they might be counting Trevor Bauer in there. And the Yankees were 3rd at 245. The Giants fell in at 12th at 155. So if I read, how many playoff teams are there now? 14, right?
Yep.
So 14. So 1 is the Dodgers or the Mets. Yeah, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees. They're all in. 4 is Philadelphia. Looks like they might get in. And then you look at the rest of the league. Let's see, who's 5? Boston is 6. They're kind of on the cusp. They're right there. Just looking at the numbers. Who's 5? San Diego. San Diego's 5. And I said Boston is 6, 7. So what I'm seeing here is that the teams that are at the top of the payroll, they're the ones that are getting into the playoffs. Angels, though, they're kind of
the teams that spend the most are the best.
Angels aren't doing well. They're 8th. I can't find who is 7th in here, but anyway, you get the point. Tampa Bay is another one. They don't spend, but somehow they've got a system that cranks out.
Well, they got a great farm system.
Yeah. So
they got a terrific farm system. Robert Rothberg says, Larry, why are people critical of Kapler when last year he platooned and broke the franchise win record? That's a good question. As far as, we were talking about this a little bit as far as Kapler and why people are, or at least why, I'm not going to speak for others. I just think that, I think there's this whole the way the media kind of soft pedals Kapler around Kapler, it's really clear that everybody's super tight. Like he's got some, either he's giving people stank eye or he's putting out vibes, but the media is very tiptoes around him. I don't like tiptoeing around people, and I don't like people that need to be tiptoed around. So that's one. That's one of the things that kind of annoys me from an outsider's view. Why is everybody asking questions like that? If I picked the wrong word, you're going to bite my head off. You know what I mean? It's like so there's that. Then I just feel like Kapler's not a dude. He's just not a dude. I don't know what to say about Kapler.
He's a weird dude. He's weird.
He is. He's a weird duck.
Here's a donated $4.99. I saw this tonight, Kapler. Not eating his birthday cake's kind of interesting. They got him another steak cake. And you know what his reply was?
What?
He says, I remember growing up, my grandpa always used to believe in freedom, and you did what you wanted to do. And I don't want to have to be forced to eat a cake because it's the day.
There you go. That explains it.
Wait,
there you go. He's not
That's
a dude.
weird. People go to the trouble to do a gesture towards you, and you kind of say no thanks.
I don't trust anybody who won't eat their birthday cake.
That's just weird.
What the hell? He's
just a strange duck. He's just strange. And then also,
I
just
guess
get
it was
the
a
vibe
cake
that
out
it's
of steak because they know he's not into sugar and all that.
He's the smartest guy in the room, and it's like I don't know. There's something about
take a bite out of your cake and say thank you. Come on, just say hey, thanks. I appreciate
He just doesn't strike me as a dude. Doesn't strike me as a guy I want to hang with.
I cannot believe that.
I can't believe got me. It was my birthday, and you guys went to all this trouble to give me a cake and be like, "Oh, thanks, guys." But
oh my god, that is delicious.
I really don't want to eat cake today because it's my birthday. I want to eat it when I feel like eating it.
It's interesting. A lot of people weighing in. Kapler's not a real human being. I'm convinced he's automation.
Look at that. Look at that marble. Look at
Robert Rothberg. Larry, please be specific in regard to the amount of money Soto will demand. Would you offer him a blank check? Of course, I would not offer him a blank check. He's one of the best young hitters in the game. He's gonna demand, $35 million a year, $40 million a year. It's gonna be big. But guess what? The Giants have it.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that as far as what he's going to ask for.
And they'll make up for it with season ticket sales, concessions, jerseys, promotions.
It's going to be big, though, as far as be specific. I don't know, because you're not asking me to say what the market is right now because he's not signing it right now. You're asking me to say what will the market be in 3 years. It's going to be higher.
I think you can
be higher. I would say it's going to be roughly 35, 40, somewhere in there.
He rejected 14 at 440, right? Is what it was. So if you took 440, I think it was like 29 or something.
Yeah. So 30, 35, something like that.
So yeah,
reasonable.
I personally, I would just say I'd go like 12 years and give him like 500, and so you're not stuck at the end, at the last, 500 divided by 12, 41 a year. Just do it.
Benji says, look at Kapler, just a guy not being a dude. There's just something about Kapler that I don't like. It's not personal. It's not like, oh my God, I can't stand the guy. He's never done anything to me. It's just there's something about the vibe around the team that doesn't seem very, very good. He also seems like he's like really, he's really into his causes, and he's really into his, he takes himself. He just seems like a guy who takes himself really, really seriously.
Yeah.
And I, personally, I like people who can laugh at themselves. Does he seem like a kind of guy who's laughing at himself? I don't know. He doesn't seem like that kind of a guy.
He's just odd. He just comes across to me as odd. Like when they hired him, the big thing, a lot of questions about his comment about coconut oil and just strange. I mean, you heard about that, right?
No.
Jeez. Look it up.
Oh, what, does he masturbate with it?
Yeah, basically. He said something about
no.
Get coconut oil. There's other thing. It's a good use of, how do we reset it? He said it in a Gabe way without coming out, and it's a good use for other purposes of the body or something. I don't know how he said it. Look at it. It's just strange. He said it in Philadelphia, and it became really strange. Or he said it in some magazine. GQ magazine, I think it was. And so it got quoted all over when he got hired by Philadelphia, and it's just odd, It's just like oddities.
Kapler, MF donates $19.99. He says Kapler's corporate tone in post-game interviews raises my eyebrow. I think Ron Wotus deserves a lot of credit for last year's season. I'm not saying the Cap doesn't deserve a lot of credit for last year's season, or that Farhan doesn't. I think those guys deserve a lion's share of the credit for last year. I just like, it's funny. Gary, we used to talk about is this a guy you'd want to drive cross country with?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I don't think I could drive across the Bay Area with Kapler before I'd kick him out of the car. I'd be like, dude, out, you're out. He just doesn't seem like a dude. He doesn't seem relatable. I don't know. Also it's like, I don't see endearing qualities to him. I see a guy who's smart and capable. You know what I mean? Like, is he smart? Yes. Is he capable? Yes. Is he intelligent? Yes. Do you want to hang with him? Nah. Do you think he's cool? You know what I mean? Would you want to go fishing with him? You want to go watch a college football game with him? No, not really.
Would you like him to be your brother-in-law?
Yeah. He just seems kind of, I don't know. He's capable. He's capable. I would say that almost everything that I like about him is about like his like, his like he seems intelligent and this and that, but I just don't think he's likable. And the vibe just is not good around the club. And then when you watch all the media tiptoe around him, like, why are they tiptoeing around this guy? Why can he not? He's like very defensive without being defensive. Do you like this guy? We like all of our players. All right,
you think he's like triggered from being in the Philadelphia market.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he thinks there's he's like King Herod, and he's worried about an uprising. So he's it's like he's
audio.
What's that?
This is his audio of refusing the cake, apparently.
How was your cake yesterday?
I am embarrassed to say that I did not eat the cake yesterday.
Is that 2 years straight? Is that 2 years straight? You did?
Yeah, I don't like to be like forced into it on a day. Like if I want to eat something, I just want to eat it whenever I want to. Whenever my grandfather talked a lot about sort of like the freedom that he had on any given day, and that the holidays didn't make his life any different or force him into making any choices. I remember him talking about that a lot. I feel similar. If I want to eat, I'll eat. If I want to drink, I'll drink. And maybe on my birthday, but if I'm not, I'm not. I don't feel any. Even though a cake showed up, I don't feel pressure to eat it.
I rest my case. the defense rests. There you go. That is item number one. Frisco Willie donates $4.99. If they get Soto, they can always trade Soto for prospects in 2 years if it doesn't work out. No lose situation. I agree. This one's kind of interesting from Haruku Hataki says, if everyone ripped on Cap after last year, I'll give you props. But if you're shitting on him this year, you're one of those fans. I thought he was a weirdo last year. I just because the guy's effective doesn't mean I thought the guy was kind of weird last year. And I've interviewed him a bunch too. I've talked to him many times, and it's like I'm always a little skeptical of the people that are just like try so hard in the interviews. And that's a great question. Okay, you mix in that's a great question once, all right, you're genuine. You mix in that's a great question every time, then that's kind of weird. That's a guy trying really, really hard. And anytime people are trying really hard, doesn't that make you pause? That kind of always makes me pause. Anytime I'm sitting there and it's pretty clear that somebody is trying really, really hard to. It's like, it's just a little too, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Steve Roach donates $2. His Cap is an effing square. I don't know, but I don't know if he's a square. He just seems a little strange. I just find him a hard time relating to him, really.
I think he has a hard time. I mean, he doesn't see the fact that probably some intern or somebody probably worked really hard on getting that thing made and all this stuff. And they thought that he was going to be so stoked on it. And it's like, think about them. Like, that's just so selfish to just be like, to use it as a point to essentially just try and seem like you're the smartest guy in the room. I really think that he thinks when people heard that, they're like, wow, this guy is an intellectual. Like, what the hell?
So deep. And then also just kind of like, Kerr came out with this thing and then Cap had to come out with this thing. It's like, it's a little like Topper Harley, who can top? Kerr's upset about Uvalde. I'll be super upset. Kerr's going to be emotional about what happened there. So I'm going to refuse to stand for the, it's exhausting. Yeah, it's like once or twice, fine. But this, he's just, to me, he's exhausting. And I think he's exhausting for the players. And I think that's why Philly had a sub 500 record both of the years he was there. I just think over time, over a long period of time, I think he wears like shit. I really do. Rod Dunham says $5. Here it is. He said, here's a question. Would Soto want to sign with the Giants? Harper didn't. Stanton didn't. For Soto, it can't just be all about the money, or is it? That's a great question. That's kind of like the $1 million question is we don't know is that, what if the Giants made some big, huge offer for Soto? Wouldn't you want to have some indication that he would be open-minded to signing with you? Even if you didn't get him signed on the dotted line, wouldn't you want to have a conversation either with him or with Boris and say, hey, Scott, by the way, before I trade 8 players, including, 3 of my top 5 prospects in my system, before I gut my farm system, which I've spent the last 3 years pouring money and man hours into, would your guy be open to signing out here west of the Mississippi long term, or is that a non-starter? I mean, to me, that's a very fair question, and I think that's a question that almost has to be asked, right? It's like, hey, I don't mind gutting my farm system for your guy because I think your guy is really special. But is your guy gonna, give me the Heisman as when I make him an offer and run to free agency? Because then it's like, then I got to compare what I'm trading in prospects to what I may be able to recoup in prospects, then that's a totally different equation. But if he's willing to sign here long term, man, my owners have got deep pockets, and my franchise produces revenue at a level that very few do. So I got to think, all things being equal, if you're willing to sign here long term, that we'll get it done because we got the cash to get it done. So you know what I'm saying? I that's kind of how I look at that. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. We have some bonus Pasquale. We have some new Pasquale. So why don't we do this? We'll play we'll pay our commercials or pay our sponsors right now, and then we'll come back and we'll play with our new Pasquale sound before we bolt for the door. So coming up next, a little bonus Pasquale on the Krueg Show.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coccimilgio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of the Krueg Show.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show, and of course that is one of our sponsors, but that's not our only sponsor. We also want to thank our good friends at New York Style Italian Sausage and Caceres.
And thanks to Tony Casera and the good people at Caceres Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Casera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
Welcome back to the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger, Ryan Smith, Dan Coccimilgio with you as we are now 2 hours and 33 minutes into our live stream. Still hundreds of people in the chat and lots of people hanging on with more comments in the chat. We do have some bonus Pasquale that we just got, brand new video. We've got this one from Dusty Gold. Pasquale's pushing hard on his sausage. There we go.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Okay. Pasquale has become just absolute awesome. We're going to play golf with Pasquale. We're going to dine with Pasquale. It's going to be awesome. Thursday, Rye and I are going to get a tour of the facility, and I can't imagine what that's going to be like. DJ Venus says, where's the new Pasquale content? It's coming. You got to be patient. Benji says, I love this stream. Appreciate that, Benji. We really do. Shante Ortega, let's go, boys. Anonymous. My father assured him that either his brains or his sausage would be on the contract. Oh, my goodness. No Bones 99999 OG, and here's Larry apoplectically proclaiming we got to trade for Soto without taking into account he would sign an extension. Another example why GMs are hardly ever swayed by fans. No, it's not about whether or not he would sign the extension or not. You're not going to get him. It's his agent is Scott Boras. There will be no trade with an extension worked out. I'm saying that the Giants have the money to pay him when the extension comes up, but they're not going to make a trade and get an extension. Boras is not going to give you that. You have to make the trade and then try to extend him. My point is, in 2024, the Giants have like $24 million on the books, so they've cleared their books, they've cleared their runway, they've got nothing but plenty of payroll room to structure any payroll they want around this player. So, you know, without taking into an account, I just said I wouldn't make the trade with Boras unless Boras said, hey, you know what? My guy is interested in signing west of the Mississippi. So I just qualified that a second ago. So it's kind of odd that you're saying that. Okay. A couple other people in the chat. Let's see. Will Pasquale be doing meet and greets with the fans? Yes. Pasquale will be doing meet.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Okay.
And people are asking us to get photos. I'm sure. I mean, we're going to make a video for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And just so you all know, there's no Niner camp on Thursday. So the grind doesn't stop. It just means we're still going out to Santa Clara. We're still going 5 minutes to 5 minutes from the freaking stadium. We're just happen to be going to the sausage factory.
You know,
what time you going down there late morning or?
I think we're 9 a.m.
Oh,
but
okay,
I was
good.
thinking maybe that might be a good day for us to go film around the Niner complex as well. We'll have to talk about that.
Yes.
DJ Venus says, Pasquale, please sign my sausage. Matthew Mears, if Pasquale kisses you guys on the lips, you're part of the family. It's a mafia thing. El Scorpio, they have a better chance of trading for him. Lots of former Giants have said they would have never signed here had it not been traded for. It's true. You never know how you're going to feel about a place until you're there. GD5 says, first things first, you need to get the guy here before you can think about an extension. We also have 2 more years to build around him, so that's key, and that is a factor for sure. Let's see, one more here from an anonymous. How come no one ever asked Pasquale who we is? Maybe we should ask him. All right, here we go. So we have some new Pasquale sound. Are you guys ready for bonus Pasquale?
All right, Larry, do you want me to pull it up?
Is it the 1 minute long video here?
Yeah. Or did Len add it in? Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do New York style Italian sausage a favor, and everybody, you'll not believe this, but they started a YouTube channel. That's
right.
Yeah, they put up 2 little shorts, and then they put up this commercial that you're about to see. They have 10 subscribers, and I'll tell you what, it would mean a ton to us.
Yes, we're very serious about this.
Yeah, we're actually serious. It would mean a ton to us if you went over to the channel, subscribe or not, but just leave some comments on the video and say, like, you know, how much you love Pasquale and that you're coming from
nothing to subscribe, right?
It costs you nothing to subscribe.
Yeah, if everybody, by the way, Calba says this better be good. You've been hyping this hard for 5 minutes. Easy, Calba. It's 12:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's like if we're keeping you up, bro, crash. You know, that's what I would say. But I think it's pretty good. But let me just, if you can, in fact, MF just said just to subscribe to them. One of the things that we could really do for them is show them the impact that New York style sausage company's advertising has had on the Krueg show. And the best way we can do that is for everybody in the chat right now to subscribe to their YouTube channel. And Rye, what is the name of their YouTube channel? Just New York style Italian sausage company, or New York style sausage company?
So it's so small that it's actually hard to find. So I'm going to send in a link here. But
okay,
I'm
let's
not
put the link in.
I'm not going to send it until we play this, because I don't want anyone cheating.
Okay. Here's a video from New York style sausage company.
So New York style sausage was started over 70 years ago after an argument between my grandparents. My grandfather wasn't necessarily happy with the type of sausage that my grandmother was bringing home from the store. She said, well, why don't you go make your own damn sausage? And that's what he decided to do the next day out of his garage. And 70 plus years later, we are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast. It's truly the American dream.
At that time, little one-car garage couldn't really handle it.
It is an echo. We're hearing an echo here, right? Why are we getting an echo?
Everything echoes.
We grew to.
Maybe you got 2 mics going, or?
Yeah, we're getting an echo off the video. Is there a reason that's echoing? And we got echoing off the video that you played earlier.
Yeah, and the 49er ones too were. Any?
Is there a reason that we're getting the echo? Because I could fire it from the chat. I don't know if we'll get the echo.
Oh, maybe. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone. I just realized what it is. I have to mute my mic when I share this. If I
let's try it from the top.
Was started over 70 years ago after an argument between my grandparents. My grandfather wasn't necessarily happy with the type of sausage that my grandmother was bringing home from the store. She said, well, why don't you go make your own damn sausage? And that's what he decided to do the next day out of his garage. And 70 plus years later, we are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast. It's truly the American dream.
At that time, the little one-car garage couldn't really handle it. So he got moved to Sunnyvale. And from there, we grew to servicing every major supermarket you can think of.
What's special about New York style sausage is the quality of ingredients that we make our sausage with.
What makes our sausage New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, from Connecticut. Frank Sr. always said, hey, I want that sausage like New York over there, New York style. We grew up with the Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. And a Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like church without a God. And that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, that life is good.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, gluten-free products, fresh in, fresh out.
So always fresh, never frozen. What it really means is the pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. So why that's important is from a taste standpoint and from a quality standpoint. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never going to deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good.
We still take care of a lot of the customers, and a lot of people kind of laugh at us. Why are we stopping a big truck for 20 pounds of sausage? 30
It's making me hungry.
To these pizza houses up in San Francisco. Is because that's what brought us to the table. That's what made us famous. As the old saying goes, in order to move forward, you can never forget where you came from. And that's where we came from.
What we never want to forget and what we never want to leave is the family atmosphere that we have at the company. You're not around for 70 years for no reason. And our spice blend has been perfected over those 70 years. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it. Hands down. It is a very versatile product. You can barbecue it, you can smoke it, you can put it in sauce, steam it. There's all sorts of things you can do. And being a product they can pick up and be proud to pick up, be proud to share with their friends and family, and be proud to feed their families with.
And do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Whether it's a hot or mild or a breakfast or a chorizo, you will guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
Pasquale. Putting the guaranteed stamp on there.
All right. We got to run back the wink because it was
Can
all.
we get the wink? Can we get the wink? We missed the wink at the end.
I missed.
Okay, I'm going to turn the volume off, but so that we don't echo. But it's all about the wink.
In the white jacket?
Yeah.
Look at those eyes. They're Paul Newman over here.
There you go. Look at the wink.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
That's too good.
Speaking of sausage, I could segue into Gabe's coconut oil comment. You want to hear this?
Oh, yes. No, do we?
This is the strange guy he is. I mean, this is serious. Okay, this is back in Philadelphia. He's a writer. The headline. I'll just.
What?
We can't see it. Gabe Kapler was asked about
Phillies manager Gabe Kapler was asked about masturbating with coconut oil at press conference. This is when he's hired. And here's his quote. You're moisturized and smelling tropical. Your teeth are white and your face looks like you've just visited a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. The sun is set and the moon is out. Perhaps you have a friend nearby. Perhaps it's just you by your lonesome. Well, this is awkward. I've promised you authenticity, honesty, and openness. Take this how you wish, and I'll spare you the step-by-step. Coconut oil is the world's greatest lubricant. I can't help where your mind goes with this. Once the ball leaves the bat, I can't steer it.
What
and the guy writes, as Kapler notes, he can't help where your mind goes with that, though it's not as if he gives you many options. I mean, is that strange? This is who they hired.
Get a beer. Get a beer. That's what he replaced. He replaced get a beer. I'm barbecuing some New York style Italian sausage, Larry. I'm a Traeger. Get a beer. Get a beer.
I saw that there was a protester that ran on the field tonight protesting like animal meat and specifically beef. And then somebody was like yelling, "Oh, I love steak. I love steak."
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I wonder if Kapler turned down eating the steak on camera as like kind of a not wanting to offend like vegetarians or something.
The reason I did not eat my birthday cake was
my grandfather said,
dude, we don't care.
I want to eat when I want to
save
eat
it. Tell somebody who cares.
Like
MF says, love being Italian. I used to love my family's Italian restaurant. Pasquale makes better sausage than my own family. That's MF.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Makes better sausage than MF's family.
Oh. Wasn't it funny in that commercial when all of a sudden he started doing the same script and it was like,
Jim.
oh my God.
Look at Jim.
Sausage commercials, masturbating at coconut. What the hell's happening here exactly? This is when the stream goes too long. Benji, Larry is over cap. Ha ha. I love it. Oh my God.
No, it's just an odd guy. It's just, I think it contributes to 500 baseball at times. I mean, the talent level definitely, you can't blame Gabe for what he's got.
He needs to barbecue red meat on a Traeger. That's what he does, and just have a beer.
He does like what? Also, what's up with all those photos of him just so like nude, all like lubed up, probably with coconut oil on the internet?
I haven't seen those. I don't want to see those.
I don't know. I can't tell you.
So I was going to make a poster of the movie Platoon, but then I was going to put Gabe Kapler's.
It's like the opening scene from that movie with Jim Belushi and Rob Lowe about last night.
Yeah.
Was he a pro? At this point, we don't know. Did you guys see that movie? Did you guys see about last night?
Great.
Was she a pro? Was she a pro? At this point, we don't know. Just an
do you think that we've talked a lot tonight about the
Mark
whole
Graves'
thing?
Traegers are the best grills.
Oh yeah, they are. They are. But do you think we've talked? We've
MF
talked a lot
says,
about.
Good night, gentlemen. Good night, MF. Thank you once again for your donations.
Good night, MF. Thank you,
MF. Love you.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the direction of the and the club and everything. I mean, could this possibly come to a halt in a year or two where the Giants just completely reverse course and go new GM, new manager, and they're back to a whole different? I mean,
I don't think so.
I mean, how long do you go with Farhan, though? I mean, if 2 years from now, I mean, I was just reading an article about the differences between the Giants and the Dodgers farm system from Evan Weback. He just put that out tonight. And
it was Demi Moore at her finest, by the way. Anonymous. Damn straight.
It's rather interesting. I won't read the whole article. The first part about the differences between them being 17 and a half out and beyond the 100 million that separates the two teams' payrolls. The Dodgers have set themselves apart with a farm system that regularly produces major league talent. The Wiring Los Angeles machine has given them a wealth of resources to supplement the major league roster and to deal from come deadline time. Before becoming the Giants' president of baseball ops, Farhan Zaidi helped lay the groundwork of that system. But in the fourth year of his tenure here, San Francisco is still lacking the deep well of talent it will take to compete in the National League West. The Giants' shortcomings are not for a lack of investment. They sunk $70 million in the state of Arizona, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but a farm system that was not long ago seen to be on the rise has stalled out along with many of its top prospects this season. At the top, the struggles of Elliot Ramos and Joey Bart have left holes on the big league roster. Ramos, 22, never really figured things out at the plate at AAA, where he's a dismal 221. Bart has shown marginal improvement since returning from AAA, but still has been far from seamless transition from Buster Posey. Kyle Harrison, the 22-year-old left-hander from De La Salle, who has racked up strikeouts in high A and AA, might be the only success story among the Giants' top prospects this season. Shortstop Marco Luciano, also 20, is impressed when healthy, but hasn't played since June 3rd. A look at number 3 through 10 via MLB's .com's rankings. Outfielder Luis Matos batting 184 at high A after battling injuries earlier this year. Will Bednar, last year's first-round pick, has pedestrian numbers at single A. Yaro Pomerez repeating the same level he ended last year, high A, with worse results. Patrick Bailey, 322 hitter at single A last season, but is batting 196 and 332 at bats at high A.
Danny, you're depressing me. Can we just go to bed?
I
just want to go to bed.
This is
I'm calling it quits right here. I can't. I can't have you reading to me anymore.
I'm just saying,
Benji says
none of those guys are
tomorrow.
producing.
Right.
I mean, Bishop is no good right now.
Gotcha. Tomorrow we'll decide. Danny could say anything right now. I'd just be like, good.
Good night.
Benji, tomorrow we'll decide a lot about where this franchise is headed. Tomorrow we'll say a lot about where this franchise is headed. All right. Last question of the night. Yes or no? Do the Giants tomorrow night, when we're sitting here talking about Giants Dodgers in the post game, are we going to be talking about Juan Soto being a Giant, Juan Soto being a Dodger, Juan Soto being a Padre, Juan Soto being a Cardinal, or other? Go ahead. Who wants to go first? Juan Soto tomorrow will be, at this time, will be a what?
Cardinal.
Rice's Cardinal.
Dodger.
That means Dodger. One step away from being the Pope. No, I'm just joking.
Probably a Dodger.
Dodger?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Giant. Farhan gets it done. Farhan gets it done tomorrow.
If it's not the Giants, you know who I hope it is?
The A's? What if you get traded to the A's?
No, I mean, if it's one of I kind of like to see
Angels.
I wouldn't mind seeing the pod. I mean, I'd hate to see the Giants have to go up against, but shoot, San Diego. I mean, they're aggressive. I love an aggressive team. I love Joe Lacob. I love him going for it. I love the fact that the Padres are willing to spend money, even though they're not a major market team. They are going for it. I mean, Tatis, Machado, the pitching staff that they've gotten, a lot of guys from trades. AJ Preller is a kind of guy you love to have as your own GM, and you hate to see him against you because he's going to beat you somehow. And the same with the Dodgers. They do the same darn thing.
All right.
But I hope you're right, Larry. I hope you're right. But
all right, let's get one little video and then we're out of here. Should we get the guy in the bleachers? What do we want to play?
Where's Rodon going? Where's Rodon going tomorrow?
Where's Rodon going?
I'm going to say Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, I'm going to say Twins. I like Twins. I like the deal that I threw out. Rodon to the Twins for Wallner and Urshela.
Where is he going, Ryan?
Third baseman and a big power hitting right fielder.
Realistically, we're probably not going to be right on these. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hedge my bet. I'm going to say Rodon goes to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cardinals are going to do one of those two, I hope.
You got him. You got Soto and okay. I say
Ronald
Twins.
BBX's Giants signed Stewie Fairchild tomorrow and call it quits.
I say Jock Peterson ends up with Atlanta tomorrow.
916. I bet Larry sleeps with his earbuds on.
I don't even know.
His neighbor's going to turn on his.
Perry Olson. This one makes me laugh. And Larry Hughes was the next coming. Do you guys remember when Warrior fans, when we were fired up about Larry Hughes?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's when we had Carl and Frank Red on a few weeks ago for the draft. I mean, seriously, Carl and me and Frank, we talked so much about, dude, they got Larry Hughes. They're turning the corner, Larry Hughes.
There is some talk out there.
I'm getting a little punchy right now. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. We have a very important meeting at 8 too.
Yeah, we got a meeting at 8 o'clock. Danny, shut the fuck up. Let's get out of here. And
I'll just stay on. You guys go on, and I'll talk to the rest of everybody, and I'll cut them all off.
I mean this in the kindest of ways. Shut the fuck up. All right.
Hey, wait.
You know what? We're not even playing anything. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Handful, whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle.